keep away from Pumpkinhead unless you're tired of living.
His enemies are mostly dead. He's mean and unforgiving. Stop it!
Bolted doors and windows barred. Guards prowling in the yard. Won't protect you till you're dead. Nothing will from Pumpkinhead. So keep away from Pumpkinhead.
Stop it! Stop it!
Three cinephiles have come together to bring you strong opinions, controversial statements, epic battles, and plenty of fun. Introducing our host, the man who watches 52 movies a week, drinks 52 beers a movie, loves women but hates the woman. From the foreign land of Canada, our host, Mood 616. He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee Wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of moods and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 141 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, the Revenge Demon, Pumpkinhead Moods. Yeah. And of course, I got my two podcast pushers by my side. First up, we have the Mexican Manitou, the anti-superhero, aka the argumentative Avenger, JP. Yeah. And last up, we got the self-proclaimed king of the 4K format, Mr. Freelance Worker himself, Jeremy the motherfucking Jew. What's going on, boys?
I just want to start off the show by saying Jerry is a fucking asshole because today he was posting on the Shudder's Facebook page about awesome horror podcasts, and he literally listed every single podcast from the Horrorphilia Network besides ours. So Jerry, fuck you, man. You could suck a bag of dicks.
Really?
Wow, Jerry.
Fucking asshole.
Wow. That's crazy. It's one thing to just, it's one thing to single out you and diss the shit out of you, but when he's dissing me, that's not that's them some fighting words there, motherfucker.
Yeah, man. And I was looking, it's
Me
like...
Me too. I mean, I was co-host with this fool.
like 15 fucking exploding heads and like 3 of ours.
Oh, people actually dropped us?
Yeah, from us.
Props.
Besides Jerry, because he's a fucking asshole.
Well, I will say one thing. If there's one thing that I have noticed is that Exploding Heads listeners do drop them a lot in those type of posts. I see them all the time. So even though a lot of our listeners are the same as theirs, some of our listeners...
And Joey Colombo, fuck you too. Shouts out NFW podcast, Exploding Heads and the Horror Corridor, but doesn't mention us.
Who's Joey Colombo?
From frickin' Horror Mafia, bro.
Horror Mafia.
The show I was on.
Here we are getting mad that we're not getting dropped and we have no idea who Horror Mafia is.
They're on the network.
Is that the show that you did?
Show. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think I've heard of them.
Yeah, me neither. Fuck him.
No, I'm kidding. I actually like Joey a lot. He's pretty funny. But no hate. Whatever.
Is that his real last name, Columbo?
I don't know.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was a kick-ass show back in the day.
I didn't even see that post.
Yeah, it's like so much fucking everybody besides us.
Yeah,
I do give props to the people that did drop us. Thank you, homies.
Yep.
And I give a lot of fuck yous to the people that didn't.
Especially Jerry.
But you know what? Those motherfuckers were thinking about us, man. They're just like, fuck that show, man. But that's cool, man. That's cool.
To be fair,
I got no problem with that.
I have seen Jerry drop our name before. And you know who's somebody who always drops us?
Are you seriously going to fucking defend this motherfucker? How are you going to list everybody besides us?
Well, Jerry was probably exaggerating, and it was like he listed Exploding Heads. And like
he listed... You want me to read the fucking thing?
Yeah, actually I do.
Okay. Let me pull it up.
But you know who does always drop us?
And
Dave.
He probably dropped Married to Children on there too, didn't he?
Probably. Dave always drops us, dude. I see it all the time.
There's this post. Here's the post. And Jerry says, kill the cast, Exploding Heads. the ABCs of Hidden Horror, the podcast Under the Stairs, Devour the Podcast, and its sub-show, Hero Ghost Show,
Okay,
Friday the 13th, Horror Podcast, Cinema Side Pops, and that's it.
All right, if we can't be lumped into at least that list, I do feel slightly offended. There's some good shows on that list, but
What the hell is
you are
Friday
wrong.
the 13th?
It's a show that
Okay,
I know it's been on the come up. Like
Yeah.
people have been mentioning
Okay,
it a
did
lot
you just say
lately.
on the come up of a show
Yeah, I
called
know.
Fry Gay?
Yep.
I mean, that's a pretty good title.
That was good.
That's a
word
pretty
It's
play.
good
not
name.
bad. I haven't listened yet, but I assume
Dude, are the
that
hosts
maybe
gay?
the people I think
I would
probably
assume so.
I would assume so.
Because if they're not gay, that actually makes it kind of gay. I mean, if they are, that's totally fucking funny as hell. I
I've
respect the
seen
shit
the
out of that.
hosts around in different groups and stuff. They seem like cool, or at least one of them.
Why the fuck is Exploding Heads on this Legion podcast?
They've
Hell.
been on Legion for like years at this point. Jerry jumped ship. He's on Legion now, but not on Horrorphilia anymore.
No.
Yeah, why don't we be on fucking asshole?
I don't know. I never reached out to lead. Why didn't you?
Because I don't give. I would
I think
rather
Derek-
we'd still
I
be
think-
on our website if it was me.
Derek has like 14 podcasts on Legion, I think, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Legion's a good network.
Yeah.
I think Podcast Under the Stairs with Duncan used to be on there, if I'm not mistaken. I think he left to start his own thing, or focus more like on the indie side of things. But that show is good. Duncan's Podcast Under the Stairs show, the one that Jerry listed, that's a really good show. I do listen to that from time to time. They do some. He's like a workaholic, dude. He's constantly pumping out new content. Like if you would, I would think it was his job because of the amount of stuff that he's always working on. He has like a bunch of different spin-offs and different specials and stuff like that. Pretty cool. But I know you two fucks don't listen to podcasts that much anymore. I know Moods, you used to listen to them a little bit more, but
I used
don't
to.
think-
I used to listen to. Man, dude, like
We're listening to Howard Stern.
I can't
I
listen to
haven't listened
podcasts
in a
at
long
work.
time, man. I just caught up on Exploding Heads. I'm like 2 episodes behind now. I was like 10 behind. So,
I could do it when I was driving around, listen to podcasts and shit. But like when I'm working, I got my headphones on, like listen to podcasts. I don't know. I need something to motivate me. I need fucking music. So I just bump synth music all day to keep me
if you
fucking
want
going.
if you want something to like do the opposite and motivate you, like I don't know, like commit suicide or something, just listen to Brandon's solo cast.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about our.
Exploding Heads back in the day.
I thought you were gonna say our outro when Jeremy does.
Oh, that too. If you
Just-
paired those two together, it'd be if you had Jeremy on the outro of Brandon's solo cast, boom.
If you're not feeling good about yourself and you feel like ending it all, just go into the show notes and click the outro number. That'll send you right over the edge.
I used to not even put the outro number.
I do sometimes. If it gets cooler after Jeremy's part,
It would be
I'll put
okay
that-
if you could understand what the fuck he was saying.
He's not saying anything. Come on, Jeremy.
He
It's a
sounds
joke.
like a auctioneer. Like, and if you want to follow us, hit up on 22 shots moodsannoy.com and go
And
once,
you
go
fucking
twice.
do it.
He probably is, man. He's probably selling some shit. We just can't understand him.
I used to do it. When you left us.
He's actually listing his fucking eBay shit on there. We didn't even know.
Yeah, if you listen closely, it's like, and I got a copy of Fangor issue number 125 on eBay, lot number 625,967.
I did get some issues today.
That's fucking awesome.
I'm on that shit every day.
Ah, fuck.
It's a good
You know
time
what? You know
killer.
what? I actually fucking bought my very first thing on eBay. I think the last purchase I had was like a year ago or something. And I bought the complete collection of I know everyone's gonna laugh at this, but I'm a fucking dork, I know. I bought the complete collection of the new series, the new Garbage Pail Kids horror series.
Yeah, I saw
That's not
those.
even that nerdy. Like, I would buy those.
Those are fun.
I know Alex has bought them.
Yeah, I got like a ton of old school Garbage Pail. I've always been a really big fan
Me
of
too.
Garbage Pail
I have a
Kids.
lot
and
too.
Got the book
Yeah, I
and
have
everything.
some.
And
Actually.
And when they came out with the horror, I was like, man, I got a snake. It was a really good price for it. And I was like, fuck, I can't pass this up. So,
They're cool, man.
I
They're
nerded out.
cool. I like Garbage Pail Kids.
yeah, man.
They
fucking-
stopped making those cereal things a few years ago.
Yeah, the serial killers. I've got I've got series 1 and series 2, and that's it. I think that's all they did.
Those were cool.
Yeah, they were cool. It was cool. Basically, just a spin off of the Garbage Pail Kids, but yeah.
Oh, so check this out. I was when I was still at work before I came home to record this show, I figured, to save some time, I had to go pick up diapers for my niece, and to save some time,
I thought you were going to say Jeremy for Jeremy.
Oh,
a second.
What is
they're
this,
probably
Jeremy
the
in the
same
ass day or
size
something?
6. What size do you wear, Jeremy?
7.5.
Okay, so they wouldn't fit Jeremy. But I sent Carly.
I do it so when I'm on eBay and I'm looking for stuff, I don't have to get up to shit. I could just shit right in the diaper. So that's why I wear them.
You mean your mom doesn't come down with like a garbage pail?
No. I'm not carving it.
Okay. And so I sent her to get the diapers over at Walmart, and I had them written. I wrote the size on a piece of paper, and she calls me, or I call her, and I'm like, "Yo, did you find them? Like, how much are they and stuff?" And she's like, "I can't find the Martin Lily brand," and I was like, "Huh?" And Martin Lily is my grandfather's name, and it was written on the paper that I gave her.
That's amazing.
And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Look at
So
JP
she's
sending
standing
Carly
there.
to do his dirty.
She's standing there looking at the diaper aisle like Martin Lily. I was hoping that she got a sales clerk and was like, "Do you have a Martin Lily brand?"
Dude, Carly's not even blonde either. That's double funny.
Yeah, she's probably going to be mad because I am leaving out a slight detail of the story for comedic sake. So,
so good.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I literally started laughing. I couldn't stop. I was like, "What the hell?"
That's funny.
That's so good, man. I'm laughing about that. I'm sorry, Carly, but that shit is funny.
And also, I am sick. I don't know if you could tell.
Great.
Yeah.
Me too. Last week, whoop-de-doo.
It's going away though. I sounded way. If we would have recorded on Sunday, I would have sounded like a bag of gravel.
Like me.
Yeah, you sound like you were in an awful metal
I think I would need to
gangbang.
take some estrogen to sound exactly like you. But yeah.
Good one. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for yet another insult that I'll add to the list of I don't give a fuck. Thanks.
That was actually pretty good. A list of I don't give a fuck. But yeah,
So, man, episode 141. I don't know.
we're like 9 away from the big 150. We
Yeah.
mentioned that last show, but I mean,
I know we mentioned this last. I think we brought it up last show too. All these,
Yeah.
it was totally intentional with all these franchises. But here we go again.
have we started prep on 150?
Another
Yes.
franchise for y'all.
I haven't.
I have been thinking about it. It's
Have you
hard.
I have 491 films listed.
I'm not doing that. I'm just thinking of movies
That's
that I
pretty
like.
crazy. I didn't even do that. Okay, so should we just announce it since we kind of teased it?
Well, we might as
Or-
well. We might as well.
Okay, so what are we doing, Jeremy?
Oh, I'm gonna fuck it up. You could say.
Well, fucking loosen up your pull-ups, dude. Come on.
I doubt
Be a
you'll
man.
fuck it up.
Be a
Pretty
man.
easy.
It's our top 50 favorite horror films. Our personal favorite horror films.
Yeah,
So each of us will list 50 of our favorite horror films.
And I think these lists might be quite different because
Yeah,
we
because
got different taste.
yeah,
Yeah.
Simple
very
as that.
different. actually.
So I think they might be quite interesting. I'm actually quite
I would
interested
be curious
even.
to see how many titles end up on all 3 lists at some point.
Well, it's not like the best. It's our favorite. You have to remember
Yeah.
that. So it's all
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah,
Preference.
and that's one thing you do have to stress because people can't seem, even to this day, figure out the difference between best and favorites.
Like, is there films like there will be films on my list that are not 10 out of 10s, obviously, or even 9 out of 10s.
Yeah,
Like,
ratings.
I could totally probably see some like 7s on my list, maybe.
Ratings don't mean shit when I'm making lists like this. It's just my personal.
We're probably
preference.
not even going to rate them on it.
Yeah.
We're not going to actually.
No, there's no point.
Yeah, we're just
Well,
gonna
for the sake too, because
list
I think a lot of these films that are going to be listed are probably going to be future reviews anyway. So why spoil the actual?
Yeah, and
rating on
why
it?
clutter up the Hall of Fame? Because I feel like that wouldn't be fair to. Because there would probably be films that would get in through that, which I would. I mean, prefer.
You just don't want to update the website.
Well, these are not films that we're watching necessarily for this list. You know what I mean?
Well,
the
Hall of Fame is for films. The Hall of Fame is for films that we've reviewed, not that we've just talked about and give ratings. Right? There's a difference between mentioning
the top 10 shows we do, or we watched those films for the top 10, and then although the reviews are much smaller than a featured review or what we watch style review, they're still, watched the movie for it and gave a brief review. This is just pure. This is actually this should be one of the easiest episodes we've ever done, in terms of like, you could technically just come up with 50 titles and just shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll think about my list a lot harder than that, but I'm just saying it's actually going to be like an easy week when we do that, which I haven't done the math, but I'm hoping the show shouldn't end up in November. I think it'll hit in like January if my math is maybe December. It might actually be in December, depending on how the shows line up. Huh. We'll have to do the math and see where we're at.
It's I don't know. It depends what weeks we have off. It might get pushed to December or to January. But
as of right now, we have one more show this month after this show, which will technically be landing in October. And then we have 3 planned for October. So that's takes us to 42, 43, 44, 45, and then November 4. So it would be like right in December, I think.
It'll be the first episode of December.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I had 50 episodes. I've been back.
The only thing that might change that is if we end up moving the 1982 show.
Yeah.
Which it would still end up in December. It would just be like a different week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That was a fast 50 episodes.
I know, right?
Been back 50 episodes.
Yeah.
Episode 100. That was the hardest episode we ever did, next to Puppet Master.
Dude, Puppet Master was hard. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pain in the dick.
That was your idea.
Thank God for Charlie Band and his fucking short ass cheap movies.
Well, he has another one that came out today. Are we gonna mention it?
We're not doing news today, but that is some news. What is it called? Did you read the article that I posted though?
Yeah, it was
it's
funny.
the first of 8.
Yeah, I saw that. And what is it? First of 8 clip shows?
I don't know. Like, the story behind it is like there's this gore guy who's like looking for gore or something. It's like told in like comic book style, and then I guess the clips are interwoven between like the narrative and comic book thing, which just sounds cheap animation to me.
I really don't get this. The Littlest Right comes out and is actually pretty fucking good. And this is Charlie Band's answer, to bring something back to his franchise. And he starts off with a fucking clip show.
Like, I think he's thinking about it totally wrong. Instead of being like, wow, there's a lot of Puppet Master hype right now. Like, I should make a movie and then, catch some of that hype. He's like, I'm going to make a movie really, really fast. It's really bad. He's just going to make another clip. He's trying to capitalize on it in the wrong way.
Well,
like, you could actually reboot, like, revitalize your franchise.
Well, he had to boost something out the same day that the new one came out on Blu-ray and 4K. So he's like, I'm going to release on the same day, get it done as fast as possible, announce it 2 days before it comes out. There we go. Clip show. The Legacy 2.
He's really just trying to stay relevant. Like you said, the shit's hot right now. Got to put something out. But
don't you think it would be better to like, okay, like this is my chance to actually make the Puppet Master movies great again, in a sense. You know what I mean? To go and make a good one and then ride the success of that one, or it doesn't even have to be like a super good one. It just needs to be better than the last 2 or 3, and try to do something that's similar. Like the Littlest Right did not have a huge budget. Like, you can look at it and tell that it was low budget.
No.
Yeah.
So I know Charlie Band's films are even lower budget, but to just put out a clip show is like the ultimate form of cheapness to me.
Well, I bet you fucking Carly spent more on diapers tonight than fucking Charlie Band did on his movie. So.
Did you guys see? Sorry to change topics. I was on the Twitter for once. And I got into like a little thing with Brad Miska from Bloody Disgusting and John Squires from Bloody Disgusting. You know those guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're like the two main guys over there. But that John dude put out a tweet and was like, do you feel like the movies that get the most criticism are the ones that are just trying to be fun or something like that?
I saw that.
And I was like, yeah, like that article that Brad wrote about Hatchet, about Adam announcing a new Hatchet film. Did you guys see that article when they announced it? And like in the article, he kind of like went off like the awful Hatchet or the awful Victor Crowley that came out this year. And I was thinking like, that's like the exact thing you're talking about though. Yeah. So I told him that, and then we started going back and forth a little bit, but it didn't really get too negative. Like we were cool by the end of it, but I just thought it was cool that they were engaging with me. And actually then Brad actually followed us on the 22 Shots page Twitter, so that's kind of cool.
Nice. So now he's going to hear this. That's cool.
I doubt he's going to listen to this.
And then he's going to write a big article about
if he hears this, then he might as well just put us on Bloody Disgusting, because
I mean, if this really does happen, then maybe Jerry will fucking mention us in a fucking post.
Yeah, right.
Fucking Charlie. I'm still steaming about this bullshit, though, man. Charlie Band. Fuck, he's just getting old, trying to stay relevant, putting some shit out. I mean, him and Eminem are practically the same fucking person right now.
Hey,
you know,
relax.
Getting fucking old, putting out fucking whack shit, trying to stay relevant. Come on.
In your opinion, it still sold a massive amount, and true people, fans of Eminem like me, thought it was fire.
Hey, man. Everything's always opinion, right? Isn't that what you always say?
I don't say it. Everybody says it to me.
Well, Charlie, man, fuck.
Yeah, Charlie is just another.
But all I can say, you know, if he's planning on putting out 8 more of these things, I'm sure they're not going to be 8 clip shows.
Puppet Masters. He's probably going to do one for each of his franchises, like Evil Bong and Demonic Toys and
well, I guess we didn't specify
Trancers and Subspecies,
but you know what,
Evil Bong and or Ginger Dead Man and Witch House. Like that's probably what they're going to be.
I doubt it, man. I think some of those other ones are pretty. They're so far gone. No one gives a shit about. Maybe the Evil Bong films.
Can you do another clip show on Puppet Master? Like how could you do 8 of them? Like it looked like that was showing everything. You know,
the way I interpreted that was, you know, he's starting with a clip show and then he's planning on doing more movies, I guess. I don't fucking know, man.
The way that it read, it sounded like it was like 8 more of these type of movies.
Yeah, I did catch that, but I was really trying to see the light in it, I guess. But I was like, it doesn't make sense though.
Because why would you announce 8 more? Like we already know Full Moon's going to make 8 more movies at some point. You know what I mean? So it's like,
oh, of course.
Dude.
But my point is
that put such a bad taste in my mouth when Jeremy shared that article, because not only did it ruin our episode, like literally they just put out 2 Puppet Master movies in the last year. Yeah. So I was like, we should be good for a while.
But my point is, though, man, if these are related to Puppet Master, like we might as well just wait till they're all fucking done.
That's what I'm saying.
And then just do another franchise.
Wait for 3 more Puppet Master films and do like a Puppet Master franchise part 2.
Because I'm not doing 3 roundup shows.
I don't want to do a roundup show on a clip show. That just seems like by itself.
It seems redundant to the point of like retardedness.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Are you guys gonna watch it eventually?
You know what? No. We should actually get Charlie Band on here, considering we probably could. I can do that. We should
if I wanted to
flat out ask him. Among things, we'll bring up, of course, the fake big boxes and VH tapes. And
He's just gonna say they're real.
But I'm gonna be like, dude, you're lying. I bought one. It says copyright 2015.
No, it doesn't say that.
No, but seriously, man, I want some damn answers from this motherfucker.
Where's Head of the Family 2?
That's a good question.
Head of the Family.
See, now we're rolling. We're getting the ball rolling. We're getting some confidence with our questions and shit.
I actually am the one true Charlie Band fan of this.
I just want to ask him what he's going to name the next 19 Evil Bong movies, because everyone that comes out always have awesome titles, man.
They do.
Like Evil Bong 420?
Yeah, Evil Bong
High Five?
666. Evil Bong 777. Lucky numbers.
Yeah, it was Vegas. Yeah, these guys.
Evil Bong 2, King Bong.
Fuck yeah, man. I
Evil
like that.
Bong 3D.
Evil Bong High Five. That's a good one.
What could you say with 8? Evil Bong. There's nothing.
I don't
There's
know.
no more puns.
8 ball? Something, but that's the wrong drug? That's
That is the wrong drug.
I don't know, man. But to be honest, I think actually having a conversation with Charlie Ban would be pretty damn interesting.
What if it was called Straight Dope?
Straight dope, nice.
Yeah, but with an 8, straight.
Yeah, but I would have a feeling though if we actually had an interview or a chat with Charlie Ban, I think that he would just lie the whole time. Like I don't think we get any truth out of the conversation, and we leave it going, that motherfucker's a liar.
We would get some truth. He'd be like, "You can buy this on this date,"
and then we just want to interview him again, and then the same shit would happen again.
I've had so many chances to interview Charlie Ban. I like Charlie Ban. I wouldn't want you assholes.
We would end up doing so many
guys.
interviews with Charlie Ban. We could have our own Charlie Ban franchise.
I said to Jeremy,
Never Charlie
I
Charlie
was
Ban
like, what if
podcast.
we just said F it and we straight up went for the jugular? Like wasn't, fake about it and was just like, so what's up with this? What's up with this? Why do you do this? But, we would probably never be able to interview anybody again, but it would probably be worth it.
Honestly, dude, I think you just hang up after like 2 minutes, though.
Yeah, he would get his publicist on the phone or whatever and be like,
I'd want to ease into it a little bit, kind of get the feel for him, make us like me and you. I'm sure you'll hate Jeremy within 5 minutes. Like, why is that little girl in the background always screaming, "Fuck you, Jerry"?
fuck you, Charlie.
He's like,
Ban.
who's this Jerry guy? I thought your name was Moods and JP. I'm fucking confuse a motherfucker. But yeah, I don't know, man. It could be
Always
something
the
right
Jews' fault.
there. It is always the Jews' fault, man. Fuck. It's okay, man.
Always got to blame the Jew.
It's okay, man. Just go change your pull-ups,
I will.
and we'll continue along with the show here.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, let's
Fucking assholes.
on that note, let's move this shit along.
All right.
And let's get into some box office brawl.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ding, ding.
Hey, that's my line. Ding, ding.
So,
I always chop
Predator,
up all this anyways. When I put out the audio, so it's all good.
Sorry. House with the Clocks on the Wall. That's the one, right?
Yep.
All right, so...
How did we do, man? Or how did I do?
What did it make, Jeremy?
It made $26.8 million.
All right,
How much?
so...
$26.8 million.
20. I thought it made 23.
That's what it was projected at.
Oh,
but
okay.
It did better on Sunday than they projected.
Shit. Well, I guess I'm outie.
Yeah. So I said 26.
That's fucking bullshit.
Jeremy said 23, and Mood said 20. So let's see where.
So either way, I would have been fucking losing anyways, even if it was
Beat
23.
Moods. I'm up 2 now.
Yeah. So
God damn, I really-
Moods versus Jeremy is now 14.
Man, I have been
to
sucking the
12.
last 5 shows. Man.
14 to 12.
Finally winning. I'm finally a winner in life.
Yeah. JP versus Moods.
Oh, I don't want to hear this one.
I am now two up on Moods. Or wait, 1 up on Moods. So it's 14 to 13. And then me versus Jeremy is now 19 to 11.
That's all right. I'm a winner in our pool with Moods. Oh, that matters.
Yeah.
I could have a push.
So what are we doing? Are we doing this till the end of the year?
Sure.
And then start a new one the next year?
Wasn't it the first one at 22?
It was gonna be, but I mean,
But
it might take you guys a damn long time to get there because I'm already up 19 to 11. I'm close to it, But 14 you guys are at.
JP just wants me to lose.
Well, I'm just saying you would win. If it ended now, you would win.
I don't think he actually has to wish for that to happen.
Fuck you.
So what do we got this week then?
We have Hellfest, the surprisingly R-rated slasher film from Lionsgate.
It says they're going to once again roll horror. Are they going to start with Hellfest?
No.
No.
Opening up in 2,200 theaters.
That's not even that many.
And I'm guessing 8 million.
Man.
8 million.
Mainstream slasher film. Can't be any worse than fucking Happy Shit Day.
Happy Death Day to you.
Yes, it will. Oh, you mean like in terms of quality or terms of box office?
Quality.
Oh, okay. Jeremy says 8. What you got, Mids?
2,200, man. Oh, man. Oh, Jeremy fucking took what I was going to say, you fucking shitbag. Now I got to fucking... I'm going to say 7.
I'm going to go 9.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I think it's going to do 12, but 9 is a better safe bet because I win if it's anything over 9.
Happy Death Day to you. What a
retarded name.
What a fucking stupid name.
Wait, is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's the official title.
What is it?
Happy Death Day to you.
And it's coming out. And it's coming out on fucking Valentine's Day. So that makes sense.
Cool. What if it's a Valentine's Day?
That marketing is brilliant for fucking 13-year-old boys and girls and Andrew.
Listen, a lot of people liked the movie.
You want to know what I think about the movie? That's what I think about the movie.
God,
is that real?
Damn. I didn't think you could get that much fucking sound out of those pull-ups, because those things are pretty padded.
I mean, it's better than what you did last week at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was also like 30 feet down away from my room. It was amazing you even heard that shit, though.
Carly was saying I was a hater of toilet humor.
You are a hater.
Like toilet
I never
humor?
really laugh at you guys.
No, you don't. You never laugh, and we always...
Sometimes I do.
Farts and penis
She was saying I was a hater.
Does Carly like fart humor?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, you probably never fart around her, do you? So just test the market, man. Just fucking
She says that I am fake because I laugh in real life, but on the show for some reason I don't.
They're taking the shit too serious, man. It's dick and fart jokes.
That's actually what Brad said over at Bloody Disgusting, that his argument for why Victor Crowley sucked was it was just dick and fart jokes, and that if it was Friday the 13th, I bet you would be mad. And I was like, yes, I would be. Because that's Friday the 13th.
Victor Crowley wasn't
been
like
that way since the beginning.
It wasn't jelly filled with dick and fart jokes that bad.
I mean, it literally has there is a literal dick joke.
Yeah, but it's not like the whole movie.
Yeah, sign my balls.
It's not like it was written by Kevin Smith, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Man, dude.
Jesus, dude.
You are going to... Well, you're wearing a pull-up, so it doesn't fucking matter. Shit away, buddy. Shit away.
Right into the pull-ups.
Isn't there one of those... Isn't there a movie out this year called, like, Adult Babies or some shit like that?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, there's like a movie, dude. It's like a horror film about these, like, adults in diapers and acting all strange and shit. I think it's a film from the UK.
Is it...
I think so.
Starring Jack Black.
Well, that makes sense. That was pretty cringe, that part.
I said that.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, did you watch my review?
Yes, it was awful.
What? Why was it awful?
You guys are just like standing there like dipshits.
Okay,
dude,
so
you literally sit in your car by yourself with your camera in your crotch.
Yeah, but we already know I'm a loser, so it's like it's no big difference.
So here it is. Adult Babies. It says 2017. It is a film from the UK. It's apparently...
Dude, nobody cares.
No, I do. I care.
No, we don't.
Yes. It's a horror film. 3 family members break into a remote country house to recover secret documents, but discover a cult of wealthy adults dressed as babies inside with sexy nurses as their caretakers.
Get the fuck out of here.
Did you guys watch Camp Death 3?
What the fuck is wrong with people? Why are they making these movies? That's amazing. I gotta watch this shit. That's it. I'm reviewing
Did
it
you
next.
watch Camp Death 3 in 2D?
No.
I will never watch any of those films.
The guy... Okay, so like whenever I get emails for online screeners...
I think there's only one of them, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe I'm
thinking of Camp Blood.
There's only one.
Maybe I'm thinking of Camp Blood.
Anytime I get emails for screeners that are digital, I always just say, sure, I'll take one. And then most of the time I never get to it. But I just want it there in case. The guy who released Camp Death 3 in 2D literally emailed me like a week later and was like, hey, I noticed you didn't watch that screener there. And I was like, yeah, I've been busy, dude. My bad. And he was like, well, like about probably 30% of people didn't watch them. And I was like, wow. He checked
your
all
movie
of them.
sucks.
I was one of them too.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, if you want to send me another one, I'll check it out for my 31 Days of Horror this year, and I'll review it on YouTube. And he was like, okay. And then I look at it again today, and it expires like tomorrow. So I was like, damn it, I'm still not going to get to it. It's not October yet.
Shit. If you had to send me...
I did just want to check out the trailer, because I'd seen... He must have been emailing a lot of people in our circle, like YouTubers, podcasters, and stuff, because I did see a lot of people review it, and it seemed like it was getting positive reviews, but then I watched the trailer. Like, I expected it to be what the trailer was, but then I saw people start reviewing it. I was like, oh, maybe I just kind of thought this was one of those stupid movies, but it's actually like different. And no, it was just like I thought it was gonna be. Like super low budget, like super
shitty.
Just no, I wouldn't say shit. Like to
the
me,
last time you said you
was
were
it
watch
trying to
movies,
be bad? Was it trying to be bad?
Yes.
So
well,
it's like
yes.
Mutantis.
But then you should be giving it a
Yes.
1 out of 10 then.
Well, I'm probably not going to watch it, so. But I sent it along to you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Opened
okay.
it.
I'm not going to
So
get
this
to
guy
tonight.
didn't message me and be like, 30% of the 30%.
Maybe I'll
not
get him to re-up
second
it for
time.
me, because I think mine's, probably expired too.
You might like it. I don't know. Sometimes you like stuff like that. Sometimes you don't.
Like Mutantis.
It's definitely no adult babies, that's for sure.
I'm curious about what that is now.
You got to see the cover art.
No,
man.
you're not.
The cover art's actually pretty cool. The fucked up thing is I don't think it's a comedy either.
How could that not be a comedy?
Oh, first review says grotesque horror comedy. Fuck. That would be so much better if it wasn't.
Okay, Jeremy. Grotesque?
I
What is
can't
this
fucking.
fucking
It's
tea on
late. It's
Jeremy?
fucking late. I've been worked hard. Never mind. Fuck. Oh,
All
Jeremy,
right.
go bloat
So
in
that
your
was
pull-ups.
Box Office Brawl.
Yeah.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Have you checked the children?
What do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
Oh yeah, getting into the dub portion of the show. Yeah, y'all know what it's about. We go round tree, review some films, give some ratings, pass the torch. JP.
Yo.
Starts with you, buddy.
So this one is a kid's film. I just saw it in a theater. It is The House with a Clock in Its Walls, directed by Mr. Eli Roth. another director for hire job for Mr. Roth. So he went from Death Wish, an action thriller revenge film, to a family kids horror film.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good actually. But you know what? I think Jeremy had mentioned that it's one of his better films in a long time.
It's best films in Hostel 2.
I can see why people would think that. I mean, I personally like Green Inferno and Knock Knock better. Maybe I don't think I like Death Wish better. Death Wish just has no rewatch to me, but The House with the Clocks in Its Walls, The Clock in Its Walls, is a film starring Jack Black. This kid, his parents die. He is sent to his uncle's house, who is sort of in this mansion-y type big house. But it's 1950s, I think. So it is a period piece. This kid is kind of a weirdo, introvert, not too popular, wears these weird goggle things, and he goes to school and, picked on a little bit. He does meet this one kid who he becomes friends with, who's actually played by the Bob from The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yep. And he's in mid-90s coming out in a few weeks.
This kid's probably the best actor in the movie, honestly. I think he's pretty good.
No, dude, Cate Blanchett's the best actor in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, her performance was, I guess, good, but it was kind of, it was basic, it had, her story arc was kind of simple and stuff. I don't know. I wasn't overly impressed by her, honestly, or Jack Black. But honestly, one thing I will say is these are Jack Black's type of movies. This is a role designed for him. So I can't hate it. It's I've never had a huge problem with Jack Black. I had mentioned in my other review that Moods doesn't like him. Doesn't really dig his humor at all, but I don't mind it. It's very kid friendly.
Yeah.
It's directed towards kids. It's super silly.
It's body humor.
Yeah, I thought
Physical
it was pretty
humor.
funny. I laughed a few times at some of the stuff that he did in this movie. I do agree heavily with Jeremy that the kid is probably the weakest part. I didn't think he was very good at all for this. Caliber of movie. You would expect somebody who had a little bit better acting chops. He didn't necessarily do bad to me.
I thought he was bad.
Bad for this, yes. Bad in the acting spectrum, I would say no. But it actually got a little spooky towards the end, which I appreciated. It had some
It had really great atmosphere. I have to say that.
I almost thought that the atmosphere could have been kicked up a notch and went, more into a Guillermo del Toro
Yeah, but this is a kids' movies, bro.
Well, I mean, Guillermo's movies are very they're darker, but Shape of Water is definitely not too dark, or a Tim Burton-esque type film. I felt like they were a little light on the cool spooky imagery that they could have had, the vibes. It did have a decent atmosphere, but I would have liked if it was a little bit heavier. Besides that, I think that the film does take a little long to get rolling in terms of the stuff actually happening. There's one moment in the end of the film that is very cringy. It's so, I was just like, oh my God. And I think it was meant to look uncomfortable. And it definitely succeeded, but it was just, it was weird, man. So yeah, I don't know if it's a kid's film. It was pretty fun, entertaining. I didn't mind spending the money to check it out. Weird that Eli Roth directed it. It really is. You think of Eli Roth films like Hostel, Cabin Fever, Green Inferno, even, in terms of the subject matter, Knock Knock, even in terms of the subject matter, and you're just wait, he did this is a straight up Goosebumps episode.
Yeah, but he's really good with opening shots, and I think that's probably like the strong suit of this film is he still shows places for the first time in an extremely fascinating way. In Hostel, when we first see the place where they bring all these people to torture them, there's that awesome long shot of them walking in. That's awesome. In the opening of Knock Knock, or the ending of Knock Knock, it's either the opening or the ending. We have that awesome tracking shot down the hallway.
Opening. It's the opening.
We have that awesome shot of him, tracking the camera down the hallway. That's a really awesome opening shot. This film has a really great opening shot of the town
Death
when the
Wish
kid
has
gets
a
off the
great
bus.
opening shot of Chicago.
Yeah.
He definitely. I mean, I've said it again. I do think he's very talented. I would like to see.
Yes, establishing. Thanks.
Yes.
I know.
I would like to see him do more films of the director for hire style, but horror films, because I think a lot of people have trouble with Roth's writing. I think everybody can kind of agree that like his directing is pretty good. Like I think most people's problems when it comes to his earlier films and his later films, Knock Knock and Green Inferno, is more story oriented and tone oriented versus actual solid camera work and music and things like that. Just the other stuff that comes with directing. I've liked every single one of his films, to some extent or another.
Not a fan of Green Inferno.
Yeah.
I really don't like that movie.
Yeah, that I can totally see why. Like I said, I saw it as satirical. It kind of appealed to me a little bit more, but this film, I think I came in at about a 7 out of 10 on this one. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It's definitely, for what it is, like what its target audience is, I think it's very effective. People seem to like it in the theater.
Yeah.
What did you rate it?
I gave it 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think your kid would really like it, Moods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably will, man. I mean, he liked Goosebumps, so
yeah.
Maybe he's a fan of Jack
similar,
Black. I don't know.
It has that kind of Goosebumps on a bigger budget kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Like old school TV Goosebumps.
The best Jack Black performance ever is in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
He's in that movie?
Yeah.
Funny.
He's also in Airborne. If anybody's ever seen that. The rollerblading movie.
Airborne.
I don't think I've seen that one. No.
Yeah, it's from the 90s.
I know it has a Warner Archive release.
Did you say rollerblading movie?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so fucking 90s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rollerblades are dead as hell, but yeah.
Not overseas.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. Yeah, the movie's awesome. Has somebody else in it, too.
Really?
Fuck, I seen somebody rollerblading.
Seth Green would be in it.
Yeah, I think he is in it.
I seen a guy rollerblading the other day, actually. Actually, technically, he wasn't really blading himself. He had a big dog, and the dog was just pulling him on his blades. I was like, that's fucking smart, man.
A lot of people actually do that. Yeah, it does have Seth Green plays the cousin that the surfer kid moves in with.
Somebody told me to watch Party Monster with Seth Green and Macaulay Culkin. And I was like, I never heard of that movie. And then I looked it up and it looked fucking weird as shit.
I remember when that movie was like...
Yeah, it's good, man. Rounds. It's good.
Really? I heard it's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty indie and fucking...
Yeah.
Experimental.
Has Marilyn...
It was
has
trippy.
Manson in it too, right?
I liked it. I watched it when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always pops up in lists like with kids and,
yeah, I won't lie, man. I checked it out because of fucking Kevin McAllister, for sure.
So that is mine.
Jeremy.
Okay. I want to talk about a film from the year 2018 that came out last Friday that horribly failed at the box office. And, I didn't know anything about it. They showed a trailer for it when I saw The Nun. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty interesting. It's very Harmony Korine inspired, influence kind of a film. As you guys know, Gummo is my favorite horror film. So going into it, you probably knew that I would probably like this movie. When I was in film school, a huge chunk of one semester in one of my classes, we looked at Spring Breakers and the use of teen culture in that film and how it's described, and at that time it was the YOLO culture was what was fucking big at that time. So those kind of films are interesting to me in that aspect of looking at how, now that I'm a little bit older, how different generation high school generations change over time. And so this movie has a very similar kind of style, and it's a film titled Assassination Nation from the year 2018.
Is it a horror film?
It is a horror film, yes. It's a very dark fucking movie. It's not like a full-blown horror film, but it's an insanely dark fucking movie. And it's actually directed and written by Sam Levinson, whose only other credit was the film that I reviewed last week, Stoic. He's in that film. He's one of the main actors in that movie that I talked about last week. So it's just a coincidence now I'm watching this film. So this movie we follow, it's like an updated Salem witch trial kind of a story. We follow Lily and her three very attractive friends. This movie has a lot of booty short kind of shots, very similar to, once again, Spring Breakers. And they live in Salem, and they're living their lives, doing their typical things that high schoolers do this day. A lot of Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all those kind of discussions are brought up. And what's happening in this town is that there's this person who's hacking into all these people's phones who live in Salem and, leaking it to all these people, all these citizens in this town. The mayor gets attacked first, and of course there's risque photos of him, and then the principal gets hit, and then, of course, one of the four girls in this film, her phone, of course, gets hacked, and, of course, she has, nudes and things like that are, once again, a very relevant topic in the world today, especially a few years ago with the Taylor Swift's hacks. Not Taylor Swift, fucking
J-Law?
Yeah, what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence. So after that, there's this a mass hysteria in the town because, of course, people are pissed off at each other when they see, their husbands in somebody else's picture and things like that, or text messages from one person to another. So huge mass hysteria breaks out in the town, and then we have a shift of a like a Heathers kind of a film to a very, very dark, insanely bloody gore fest of a film where the pretty much purge influenced town members are going around just killing each other off of hysteria.
Because they're mad about the pictures?
Well, like half the town's phones get hacked, and there's things like this person's cheating on this person with this person who lives in the town, and this person's sending this person nudes.
You think that's enough to
this relation? You have to see it to understand what I'm getting at.
Okay.
It's of course it's an over exaggerated kind of a film. It's not like a very straightforward kind of a movie that's placed very seriously. It's a very over what's the word I'm looking for? It's very stylized in this sense. You have to watch the movie to understand what I'm saying, but the last 45 minutes of this movie it's a really fun, entertaining time. It's really, really good. I really, really like the characters. I think they're pretty well written for what at least I see of high schoolers today. I think it hits a lot of the notes that of what's going on in society today. And there's this scene, this very intense scene about 30 minutes from the end of the film that's like a 8-minute shot of this house from outside, and the camera just moves around from the outside looking into this house. It's a really amazing, well done, tense shot. I don't think JP is going to like this movie very much, to be completely fair with you guys. I think he's going to probably roll his eyes at everything that's going on, but I really, really like this movie. I haven't seen anybody talk negatively about this movie, to be honest with you. Even on Letterboxd, people were really, really praising this movie. I know
literally everyone likes it, but JP's not going to.
Yeah, you're not going to like it. I know your style, and I know you're probably just going to roll your fucking eyes when you're watching it.
You think you know my style, but I don't think you have a pulse on it at all.
Well, you're going to have to wait to fucking see it on Blu-ray, because it's probably not going to make it to the end of this week.
Is it top 10 contender?
Yes, absolutely. As of now, yes. I haven't got into the balls deep of watching 2018 films.
I can
to the balls deep.
I doubt it, man. I doubt
it. That was funny.
I liked it a lot. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it. So check it out. It's good.
8.5 is top 10 worthy? Shit.
All right, Mood, get balls deep into a review.
It does sound pretty cool, though.
Yeah. I thought I did okay on that one.
I think it sounds.
I was thinking that you were doing good while you were reviewing, and I was like, why can't he do this all the time?
And one of the main girls is transgender.
Want to take a shot at the lore real quick?
Well, now I'm not. Now I'm not fucking watching it.
No, it's interesting you having that sense. It means you don't really see that many transgender
I was joking.
Characters. It's interesting. It's an interesting twist in the film. I liked it quite a bit. It's a good
you
movie.
feel empowered to start your transition?
Yes. Gonna chop off my cock right now. My cock is gone.
Could be the first transgender that wears pull-ups. All right.
Yep.
That was pretty easy, huh?
Yeah. All right. So
it's gone.
2018 film directed by Dom Frank called The Church. Yeah,
you like them Salvation Church?
No.
Suave.
No. This one, first off, is rated PG-13.
What does that mean, Jeremy?
I didn't even know.
Pure garbage for kids under the age of 13.
Yes.
It never gets old.
I just don't understand why this movie, like, why do you would even go forward and make a PG-13 film based on this? It does have some recognizable faces in it. It's actually starring Bill Moseley. He plays the pastor in the film. Ashley C. Williams is in it. She was in...
if you create a PG-13 horror film, you just wasted Bill Moseley.
Well, that's... Okay, yeah. My thoughts exactly. Ashley C. Williams, she was in the first Human Centipede film. We've got an appearance from Clint Howard in this one. That's pretty cool. And one of the faces in here that really shocked me was Lisa Wilcox. Of course, she's from Nightmare.
Really?
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5. That was shocking to me because I thought that she had stopped acting. I hadn't seen her in anything.
She was in something.
Well, I think she took like the later half of the 90s to the like later 2000s off, and then she just came back. But now she's doing like a bunch of horror films and stuff. It's pretty interesting. She must have caught that bug, the convention bug. No, I bet you that's something to do with it. Anyways, The Church, 2018, basically follows our main character, played by Bill Moseley, his name is Pastor James. He is obviously the pastor of this very, very old and well-known church. The church isn't doing very well. It doesn't really have a lot of people going there and stuff. And we've got this huge corporation, this kind of realtor, I don't know, I guess you'd probably... developers. I guess they're realtor developers. And they've been buying up a lot of the land around the church. And the church sits on the very last place they need to buy up so they can build, these big high-class shopping malls and things like that. So, of course, they approach Bill Moseley with, an offer. And he's very, very reluctant. He's all about God, and he doesn't really want to sell his soul for money and, just give up the congregation that easy and shit like that. But after some, generous persuading, he kind of decides that, hey, he's going to talk to his people, and they're going to take a vote to see if they should sell this and just kind of build something else and stuff. So they go forward with it. He decides, they take a vote, they vote to sell it. So as they're signing the papers and shit. Everyone's in there. We've got all the realtors. They've got their goons. They've got all their people, their lawyers and shit. The congregation's there. And right when they're ready to fucking sign the papers, the supernatural events start happening. The building basically locks itself, and people start almost getting kind of picked off one by one in this for their sins and shit. Now, this is a film we've seen before, these type of things where some type of supernatural element comes out of the woodworks and, you know, locks people into a confined space and they start getting picked off one by one. You know, these type of simple premises and can be okay when they're done properly. This one is just done exactly how you would think it'd be on a PG-13 level. There is, oh my God, man. The acting in this movie is just so atrocious. You know, it's not even that though. It's a very low budget indie film. I get that. But I don't know why they decided to throw in the cheapest possible effects ever. I'm not even joking. The effects in this film feel like they were developed in the early 90s, the first stage of CG. Right? They're okay. Right when everything first hits the fan, Bill Moseley's ready to sign the papers. His wife gets like sucked in through this fucking wall, or through this painting or whatever. It has to be the worst effect I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so fucking bad. Oh, acting.
I don't know. I saw some pretty bad ones today in EJ. So
yeah, it's very it's very undeveloped though, man. I mean, the characters they're all kind of there. No one really, you don't give a shit about fucking anybody, except for Bill. Like, he's actually about the only character that's really developed enough that you kind of give a shit about, but everyone's just a throwaway character. Effects are really shitty. It doesn't really have anything to offer. It's absolutely fucking terrible. And then to top it all off, it has the worst fucking ending of all time. I'm not even joking. This movie,
it's worse than The Elf.
This movie might even have the most ridiculously bad ending I've ever seen in a film. It was bad enough that I had to sit through the 80 minutes, you know, of watching. You know, the first like 40 minutes of the film is all this development shit, you know, trying to get him to sign the paper. So it's really, really slow going, nothing happening. And then the next 40 minutes are like the worst effects and acting of all time. And then you get this terrible, terrible fucking cop-out ending. It is, oh my God. I can't believe shit like this even gets made and put out.
Huh.
It's really atrocious. Really, really atrocious. I was trying to find some good in this, and I was kind of excited, you know, with Bill Moseley and of course Clint Howard. But unfortunately, Clint Howard in this film doesn't even have one word of dialogue.
Does he show up for like 8 seconds and then leaves?
He shows up, of course, towards the end. He's revealed as somebody, and he's kind of the reveal to the fuck's going on in this thing. But my God, man, this is one of the worst films I have seen in such a long time.
It's worse than The Elf?
No, it's not as bad as The Elf. The Elf was pretty damn bad. But this one, you know, I'm sorry, man. It's really fucking bad. I'm going to come in at a 1.5 out of 10. I don't even know why. Maybe it's because Bill Moseley's actually likable in the film. But even then, the script and the dialogue that he has in this one is so fucking dry. Like, everything is just so matter of fact. So, with all the characters, it's not just Bill Moseley. The writing's terrible, but can only do what he can do as an actor, I guess. But 1.5 out of 10, absolute shitfest. Stay clear. Go watch The Good One by Mikel Suave. Yeah. So, fuck this movie.
All right. Sounds bad. Sounds like something I'm not going to watch. Anyway, the only other movie I watched this week.
You gave it a 3 out of 10 on Letterboxd, you liar.
Yeah, I changed my rating.
So 1982's The Slumber Party Massacre. Not going to review it too hard because I do think that even if it doesn't make my list, I can't imagine that it doesn't make at least one out of the potential 6 lists on
my list.
1982 show. I would probably, if I was going to guess, I would say Christian. because he loves his slashers and seems to show love to them. I mean, Dave loves slashers, I love slashers, Mids love slashers as well, but seems like a Christian film to me. So I've seen this one other time, and I thought it was pretty bad when I seen it. Watching it again, I lied. I seen it. This is the third time. The first time I seen it, I didn't know what it even was. I remember just flipping through the channels and catching the beginning in the shower, and I was like, a kid. So I was like, yes, please. And I remember it being like super sleazy. And I'd mentioned somewhere, I don't know if it was on Facebook or in a group chat or something, but I'd said, wow, I remember this movie being a lot more sleazy than it actually is.
Yeah, it's not that sleazy.
It's not that sleazy. I mean, it's a little sleazy, but like you see the cover, which, by the way, one of the cooler, like there's no way you're not going to rent that once if you see that on the shelf. Just a cool poster, directed by a female, Amy Holden Jones, who is, I guess, most known for writing Mystic Pizza, and she wrote The Relic from like 97, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, she directed this. It was a Roger Corman production. I guess self-proclaimed feminist that she is, correct?
Oh yeah.
I guess a lot of women women directors and different like studies often cite this film.
At least when I took that course, in school, we spent like 2 weeks on this movie, which she's a insanely well-known feminist.
Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting to see that this film was directed by a feminist, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's an exploitation film at the end of the day,
Yep.
And it follows a group of girls who are high school students who have a slumber party. Meanwhile, there is a killer who has broken out of a mental hospital with a power drill, and he begins killing people in the town and eventually sets his sights on this little slumber party. One thing that I've had an issue with every time I watch these movies is I can't tell who's who, and which girl's which and whose name is who, because they're all like basic ass girl names, and they don't have a ton that separates them from like uniqueness about them. They literally just feel like a group of girls, like they don't like this, like they don't have traits that like this one's the nerdy one or this one's the slutty one or something like that. It like you normally see the tropes in slasher films and stuff like that. It's just a basic cast of girls. There is like, I guess, the good better girl who lives next door or lives down the road or something, she's new in town, got invited to the party, but then she heard a bunch of bitches talking bitchy shit on her, so she was like, fuck this, I'm hanging out with my sister and babysit her instead. Some cool kills and stuff like that. The killer is interesting because it's kind of just like a random dude, you know what I mean? It's one of those slashers where it's just like a random dude. Like he doesn't wear a mask or anything. His like the main thing is he has the power drill, which of course, like there's tons of articles and different things written about it being like phallic and this, that, and the other. I don't really dig too deep into that necessarily about the film and how, like, I've heard, he's the sexual frustration of men and this shit and stuff. So there's tons of that out there if you want to look into it deeper.
It's like a metaphor for that's what all men want to do to women.
Yeah, stab them with a drill.
Drill them. Oh, I want to drill.
Well, like, metaphorically, drill them.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't look into this type of film that deeply, I guess. Is that what she was trying to say?
Yes.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
With what she stands for in her background and stuff, I believe. I mean, she was heavily criticized when this movie came out because people totally didn't understand what she was doing. Yeah. They're just like, oh, fuck, you're, self-proclaimed, feminist and shit like that. But
I think
you're exploiting
people,
women. Everyone,
when it first came out, didn't even know that she was a feminist. They assumed it was just some schlocky filmmaker dude who sleazemeister, like all the other ones. So I think once it came out that she did it, and I think that was pretty interesting. But it's I guess if you look into it like that, I mean, maybe you could bump up your rating a little bit because that makes it a little bit more intriguing of a film. But if you take it like straight up face value, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
It is fun. I will say the Scream Factory Blu-ray made me enjoy it more. I don't know if it made me enjoy it more or if I just, it's almost like a new experience when you watch a film on Blu-ray versus the last time you've seen it on DVD or whatever.
I saw this on 35 millimeter and one of the worst prints I've ever seen in my life. It's awful.
Yeah. There's some funny moments, like the one girl that, like, the pizza dude's dead and she like puts the pizza box on his back and eats a slice and she's like, I'm hungry, or when I'm scared I get hungry or something like that. It's I enjoyed watching it. Like it was great watching it on Blu-ray. I thought the transfer was really good. It actually, it made me want to watch the sequels. And then I was actually going to it, and I realized that I didn't own the double pack that came out from Scream Factory. I just have the old DVD triple pack. So I was like, maybe I'll just wait until I get the Blu-ray set to revisit.
Yeah,
those.
do that because you get the uncut version of Part 3.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
That's cool. I didn't actually know that. Yeah, super small budget on this one, $250,000. Actually made $3.5 million at the box office, so that's actually a pretty good success for a Corman title. I probably came in at like between a 7 and a 7.5. So I don't know where I sit 100% yet. I'll figure that out closer to the 82 show. Boom.
Yeah, I'm probably right. I can't remember what I rated it, but rewatching it again, I had so much fun with it.
It is fun, man. It is fun, but is it? The only thing is it? There's such other heavy hitters out there that have a lot more, to them, on the surface. That it's hard to put a film like this on the top 10. I think.
Fair enough. Jeremy,
who knows? It might make it.
All right, let's talk about Repulsion from Sam Edwards. Gave me this to watch from the year 1965, directed by Roman Polanski. And this is his second film. He did Knife in the Water before this a few years earlier. And that's a really fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, it's really, really good. And this was his first English film that he directed in the year of 1965. And now that I've watched The Tenet, it's very interesting to see how this movie plays hand in hand with that film in the similar themes of our main character having a sexual crisis going on inside them and some sort of confusion about their sexuality and how they feel that the society that they live in is making them express that sexuality. In The Tenet, it's very clear this guy was very sexually frustrated as a man, and in this film,
he wants to go balls deep, and the world won't let him.
Yeah, and in this film, we have a woman who's fairly sexually frustrated in the sense that she hates pretty much every man, and she's actually quite afraid of men. And the film shot
opposite of Jeremy.
Yeah, the film shot in a... Fuck you, man. Even during my reviews, I can't fucking say anything without getting fucking criticized. Fuck you, man.
That ain't a criticism.
Next time I'm gonna do a sleepy noise or something, get you fucking off your shit.
I'm not getting you off your shit. I was making a gay joke.
I forgot where I was. Oh,
that girl was like... scared of men.
Yeah, so she's scared of men. This movie's shot in a very interesting way in the sense that when we're in interiors, it's shot in a very, normalized way. It's shot in a very, way that we used to seeing movies, especially at that time. But when Polanski takes the camera outside, it shifts into a very, a French New Wave kind of a style where it's very, loosey-goosey. He clearly didn't set up any of the shots or anything like that. It's just a camera following our main character around, and the editing is very spotty and things like that. It's very new wave in that sense. So I found that really interesting. I don't really think it has any meaning to the narrative or the way that this character is feeling. So as the film goes on, there's this guy who has a interest for our main character, Carol. Of course, she pushes him away again and again and again. And one time, her sister, who she lives with, her and her boyfriend, goes away on vacation, and Carol's left in this apartment alone. And she starts to have some very weird hallucinations of, sexual assault against her, and the hatred of men really comes out when she's left alone by herself. And that's where the film really shines in the the Freudian kind of stuff once again that we talked about. I don't really think we talked about it too much in The Tenet because we really didn't dive into that movie in a deep and interesting conversation. But this movie's really good. It's shot so well. I saw this once when I was in film school, and so I'm revisiting it again, and I really dug this movie. It's really good. Polanski really made some of the best movies of the 60s and the 70s, and this one once again is solid, especially since it's only his second attempt. So if you guys haven't seen Repulsion, check it out. It's fucking great. It's a 9.5 out of 10, just like The Tenet. It's really fucking good. Check it out.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame he didn't make more films like that.
Yeah, because he's quite good. He definitely has something to say about people's inner demons and the way that society looks at mental illness, or somebody that doesn't fit in with the norms of the time. So it's a really great film. I highly recommend you check out Repulsion.
I think a lot of that stuff comes from his personal life too.
Well, yeah, especially down the road when we see some of his other films and the fucked up things that he shows. It's really good. So check it out if you get a chance.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. What's up?
No, go ahead.
Oh, all right. So moving along here, another film from 2018 titled Terror Talk. When I first saw the title for this film, I thought it was going to be a anthology film for some reason. It just sounds like an anthology. It's completely not. Yeah. So it's a pretty small little film. Actually, I was quite impressed with what was kind of going on here, but so this one right here follows our main character, Kenny. Now, Kenny is basically, he's just bought this new house, and he learns of this virus outbreak that has happened in the world, and it's caused like the whole world to go crazy. Everyone's kind of panicking and shit's going nuts and stuff. So he's decided that, he's going to board himself inside his house and stay there until the shit kind of blows over and stuff. And all he has to communicate with the outside world is this kind of CB radio type thing. And he's communicating with a couple people out there. There's a male voice and a female voice and stuff. And so that's his only means with the outside world. And he kind of learns things, what's going on through them and stuff. Of course, as the time progresses and things like that, he starts kind of drinking and he really starts to kind of trip out and, in his new house. He starts hearing things. He starts kind of seeing things. And so he starts getting a little bit paranoid. He kind of starts searching the house and thinks he thinks maybe it might be haunted and stuff. He finds these DVDs, plays them, and shit kind of spirals out of control from there. So, like I said, this is a very small film, and what I mean by that, it's a contained horror film, essentially with one character in the film. You get a couple voices on, the outside, but it's basically this one character, Kenny, and we follow him, and it's a really interesting film because, as it progresses, you're catching on to the things that the filmmakers are really trying to showcase here. It's, it's a film, you're dealing with things like isolation and, a little bit of mental disorder, maybe PTSD, things like that, paranoia, he's drinking a lot of alcoholism. Like, there's a lot of things that are going on here. And I think I really like that, This one isn't going to be for everybody. because it's a very, very slow burn. It's very atmospheric. It's got a very subtle kind of soundtrack to it and things like that. But the whole movie is just a development of dialogue. You know, it's about this character and what he's going through. You know, he's isolated himself. There's something going on in the world outside, but there's something even bigger going on inside and things. And I really kind of like this, man. I think it actually worked for itself. I think my main problem with the film was it ran a little bit too long. They kind of stretched this into a 90-minute film, which I was completely shocked at the running time on this, considering we're following one character and like how much can you really do inside this house with one character and stuff. But I do think it develops itself quite nicely, and the payoff was well worth it. I think it was a little bit predictable. But it didn't ruin it for me at all. I know I say that a lot, but you can kind of tell where this one is going. But you know, for a small little indie film, I thought it did a very good job at showcasing, you know, the things that it wanted to tell the viewer. And it actually wasn't a bad watch. It wasn't fantastic. I thought the acting at times from, you know, Kenny was better when he was calm. I think when he got a little riled up, it kind of got a little bit over the top. Not like Nick Cage over the top type deals, but which actually probably would have been pretty fucking sweet, to be honest. Because, yeah, if you've seen Mandy recently, man, he's got one of the best scenes I've seen in years. But yeah, Terror Talk, definitely well worth the watch if you like these type of films. If you're not into slow burn, heavy dialogue, mystery / supernatural / a lot of things that are going on. Give it a watch. 6.5 out of 10. It's not a bad one.
Cool. Of course, JP wasn't listening, but I was.
What did he say?
I don't know. He's just talking about this guy who was in his house. He found some DVDs. He was all by himself. His name was Kenny, and it's a contained horror film. And there's nobody besides him. There's some PTSD possibly going on. So yes, I listened quite well. Thank you very much. Unlike you,
I wasn't even here to listen.
So fuck you.
I don't think you ever listen to any reviews.
And now, our feature presentation.
Alrighty, yeah, getting into the featured reviews here on episode 141. And I believe this is a Patreon show, is it not?
Yeah, it actually is a Patreon franchise show, which is the only way.
It's the last time, right?
No, well, no, it's the first one, technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the only way to get a franchise show, unless we decide, you know, to do like a Friday the 13th or something, is through the Patreon. There are a selection of shows you can pick from. A lot of cool ones that have been requested a bunch up on the Patreon. But Derek selected Pumpkinhead, which we wanted to post next week, but due to like some scheduling and time issues, we decided to do it this week. Just because it's like, I think it's a good opener to October, which is just a couple days from now. So that's pretty cool. And Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead.
Franchise. There's 4 of them. A lot of people don't even know that. People seem shocked to know there's 4.
They're all fucking awful besides the first one.
What?
Besides the first one.
A lot of people don't realize that there's 4 Pumpkinhead films?
Oh, I thought you meant that they weren't all awful besides the first one.
Yeah, nobody really knew that there was 3 and 4. I didn't know until like 2012.
I mean, I guess, right? Because, yeah, those sequels came so many years after even the first sequel.
Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess it kind of makes sense. But let's get into this, man. Pumpkinhead from the year 1988. Glorious year of 1988. Directed by special effects wizard Stan Winston. This was his directorial debut. He pretty much didn't do anything else after this, direct-wise, but yeah, Stan Winston's Pumpkinhead. After a tragic accident, a man conjures up a towering, vengeful demon called Pumpkinhead to destroy a group of unsuspecting teenagers. Yeah.
I love Pumpkinhead. I'm just saying that now.
It has mad atmosphere. I do give it that. Like, it's awesome, especially towards the end, where it's whatever the hell that kid, Bunt and them. They're in that barn, and fucking Pumpkinhead's fucking coming through, and all the lights are flashing light blue and shit. It has awesome atmosphere. Fog. Yeah, and I have to say, like, the relationship between Lance Henriksen and his kid is like second to none. Like, no other movie describes a father who loves his kid as much as Ed Harley
in
loves.
that short amount of time.
That's what I love about this, and I've always adored about this film, is exactly that. This movie has insanely fast pacing. I mean, you get introduced to Ed and his son, and within 5-10 minutes that he's a single father. Well, no, and then he loves his kids so much. He's just he's just an amazing father.
Pretty much living for his kid.
Yeah,
that's his whole purpose in life.
Yeah, he does everything for him, and it's established so.
Yeah, and he does everything with him too.
Yeah,
everything that he's doing with his son.
It's crazy too. Like with
vegetables, stuff like that. Reading him a story in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
teaching him manners and rules. Like with it, like there's so much character development in such a short amount of time. It really is kind of brilliant how they make you feel such a connection between those two, and props to Mr. Lance Henriksen, who I believe I read a story one time that when he got into acting he didn't even know how to read. Yeah, he had to teach himself how to read.
What?
Which is crazy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that or heard him talk about that before. Yeah, he didn't know how to actually read.
Yeah, I've always thought that this movie has the most insane pacing. Like I said before, Ed and his son, they established that so fucking quick. It's unlike anything you've ever seen in a horror film, And of course, something dramatic is going to happen with his son, and it does. His son is killed by just some
dickheads,
real fucking asshole kind of. It's such a weird setup though. Like, these guys, they kind of stop at the store and they just decide to unload their bikes and go ride in there. I don't know if it was the purpose, for them to actually go there and do that, but anyways,
they come up with something to kill the kid.
True, but it seems so odd in the story that they were just going to unload at this, this random area and fucking just start riding their bikes.
The guy was trying to.
I can kind of attest to that a little bit, because like when you ride dirt bikes like that, you know what I mean? Like, you see some cool landscapes and stuff, and you just want to hit it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I think he was just trying to be a dick.
Well, I don't think he was trying to be. He just is a dick.
No,
I don't think he was thinking like, oh, that's cool landscape, I want to go ride that shit.
I don't think he was intentionally trying to piss anyone off. It's just the way his personality was. They're just like, oh yeah, this looks like okay area, let's go fucking riding. But it seems odd, considering there's a store there. It might be a little busy with traffic and stuff. Who knows? But it's gonna unload your bikes and go ripping around. It seems a little bit odd, but the pacing into this point is insane. Like, we're 15 minutes into a film which could dramatically end. Like, this whole sequence could be the end of the fucking movie, for Christ's sake. That's impressive. I mean, you don't have this type of feeling in a film, maybe in Pet Sematary, but you get that more at a different time in a film.
That's kind of what I was thinking of when you talk about a connection, but that is more of a connection with loss than necessarily the perfect chemistry of the relationship early on. Like, you get that in Pet Sematary, but not as much.
Yeah.
But by the way, I did just want to fact check, because I would felt really stupid if I was wrong about this. But yeah, Lance Henriksen was illiterate until the age of 30 when he learned to read by studying movie scripts.
How's that even possible? Like, how can you not read until you're 30? It's fucking blows my mind. I guess that's probably why he started acting later in his life.
Well, he dropped out of school and ran away from home at the age of 12. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. But so yeah, another thing that I absolutely love about this one, and I think that this one, when you compare all four films together, especially the third and fourth one, because they're more direct sequels to this one, the town, the performances of these characters is so on point. Like if you've ever been to an area where it's very like old fashioned, like even like Amish or something like that, and you know everything, like it is, these guys are so spot on with the way that they talk. Like even the Bunt character and the siblings, they're all dirty and covered in like they probably have like 2 dresses. Like that's all that
they remind me of fucking Body Melt. The characters in that movie.
Yeah, but those are more over the top. These are more like realistic and true to life characters.
That's like real small town America right there, right?
Yes, you know, dude. Like, and I've been, you know, to places like that and have met people like that, and especially, you know, where I am and close to West Virginia and stuff like that. And in different areas around PA, wooded areas and stuff. And, you know, these characters, the way that they act, and even like the grandfather, like how the grandfather, the father, and then all his kids all like live together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're all have like these way of teasing each other and their accents, and also even like the way that he's like, you know, that'll be it or whatever. He's like, except for my feed, you know, and he's like, oh dang, I left it up at the house, and he's like, I need my feed, you know, and he's like, what if I bring it by the house myself? And he's like,
I'll go down that rod.
He's like, be there before dark, you know, just like straight to the point. Like it just resonates with me so well because I've met so many people like these people. And I just love that the atmosphere of like where they live, like deep in the woods. You get the sense that it's deep in the woods, you know, and the witch is even deeper in the woods than these characters. Like I forget what the area where she lives is, like something hollow or something like that, you know, but it just sounds, and you see like where he's driving the pickup truck, like you can drive a car through there, you know what I mean? It's like you drive this pickup truck deep back there and it gets all foggy, and then even deeper than that is the pumpkin patch, and that just set design is truly amazing, where they have the actually, you know, Pumpkinhead buried and stuff like that.
I feel like the landscape is just the way it's shot. I feel like there's, you know, Bunt's house and the witch's place, and that's all that's around there in the store.
Yeah,
you know, it's like that desolate, right? Like they live way
the
fuck
fuck
over
you
here.
don't really learn the
place,
landscape very much.
Yeah,
you know?
Bunt's place is definitely like a little like shanty town where it's like it's multiple families in that cluster.
Yeah, I meant to say his area, but like it's just, I feel like that's all that's around there.
Oh yeah, it is definitely. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you can tell that literally from the, you know, cock-a-doodle-doo morning till evening, they're just working. You know what I mean? They're just doing different work, and all the kids are and stuff. And I think that Haggis is such an interesting character because she's so mysterious. She lives out in the woods. She's clearly a witch, right? She has some sort of powers. Yeah. Like you try to fill in all this stuff, like how does she eat? Like does she, like, does people bring her stuff? Like she's obviously a legend around this part. Like Bunt is scared to death of her. And then this Pumpkinhead thing that lives there. You get the early scene with Ed Harley when he's a kid. Looks like he's living in Bunt's house. You know what I mean? So he grew up out there. So everybody knows the legends, you know, and I love how it has a history of repeating itself. And honestly, the core story of vengeance is so interesting in this movie because it's something that you seek desperately, and then once you get it, you're just as empty. It doesn't. Like what do they say? You know, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Like that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. It makes sense in this film where. And I like how they connect the demon itself to whoever summoned it. And on top of that, not only does he have to feel the murders and things like that as Pumpkinhead goes through and kills everybody, but he's also damned to hell afterwards, you know? So that's pretty sucky. What do you guys think about like how the story was done where, you know, you have the legend of Pumpkinhead, you have Haggis, the old witch in the woods. She even, you know, tries to warn people that
I just think you're not going to watch this movie for the story, to be completely honest with you. I mean,
really?
I think it's pretty basic. It's just a monster kind of narrative. Person says, don't do this, but you do it anyway. You know, it's very...
But it's more than just
similar.
A monster narrative, though, because it's about vengeance, and it's about...
But isn't every monster about vengeance?
Like what?
In some way or another.
Jeepers Creepers about vengeance?
Sure.
What?
I mean, I guess not. I don't know. I just think that the narrative is basic
honestly
in the terms.
It's one of those things that's like it's very simple. It's be careful.
People give it credit for. Though.
It's one of those things that's like be careful what you wish for. Essentially, at the end of the day, because I think this is the best thing about Pumpkin. Besides the effects in this film. I mean, the creature effects in Pumpkinhead are fantastic. For 1980,
it's such an interesting original design.
It really does look cool. I like how they made him so fucking huge.
Big.
Like,
He's so big. Like, even in the second one, like you see his hand big. When it's like on someone's chest, and you're like, dude, it's literally bigger than their torso. Like, the hand. But that's just creative shooting and creative like lighting techniques and different like camera trickery and stuff. Because sometimes it is just a guy in a suit, but they make him look bigger, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think my favorite thing about the film is the fact that, you know, the witch warns Ed that
and the other guy does too. He's like, the only thing that lady first he says he doesn't know her, and then he's like, you know, shows him his son, and you can see that the dude feels bad, like, oh man, you know, like Harley lost his son or whatever, that's fucked up. But that woman the only thing she's gonna do is take you straight, or like give you a one-way ticket to hell or something, or drag you straight to hell, which is super creepy. But yeah, she does try to.
I like that whole concept, man. You know, it really tests humans, you know, as a whole, right? I mean, it really tests everything about who you are as a person and shit. Like, because people all the time make snap decisions that they regret. And that's kind of what this case is all about. You know, it's Ed. He's pissed off. Like he goes through his little mourning, but then he's fucking pissed off and he wants revenge. And he's warned, but he's still pissed off. And you know, this is what people do. They still go through, even though they're fucking warned. But I think the thing I love about this is that she literally tells him, it's like, you're gonna feel that fucking pain every single time you get revenge. And she's referring to the fact that when Pumpkinhead kills somebody, it's gonna take a piece of your soul. You're gonna fucking feel that pain every time he exacts that revenge in your name. You're gonna feel that pain. And I'm just like, fuck, that's crazy. That's a cool idea. Because if you're gonna set the shit in motion, you're gonna fucking pay the price the whole time.
It makes sense, right? It makes sense.
Yes.
Like you are doing something, even though an atrocity happened to you, like you're doing something just as bad.
Exactly.
So there has to be a repercussion for you too.
Yeah.
And I love that concept. And I love that, you know, even further than that, like you also are, you know, going to hell afterwards. Like that's kind of cool too.
For eternity.
And the witch, I love how the witch is the performance is so good. Like when he first walks in, first of all, the set design on the outside of the cabin in the swamp, great. Then he walks in and you see the illumination of the fire through her hair and stuff. That's always gave me chills when I was a kid. I love that. My pap used to torture me by saying, like, talking in the witch's voice. I've said this before on the show, but he'd be like, "Hey, darling," just like, you know, creep me the fuck out. Like Pumpkinhead scared me when I was a kid. I was all about Pumpkinhead, but I love how she's like, she knows him. She knows that what's happened. She has sight and she can foresee these things. And she also is like, she's like, I ain't in the business of raising the dead or something like that. And they say that in the future one too. But I like how she's just like so direct and you just get the idea that she knows what's going to happen. She sees this whole story playing out already. She knows exactly how it's going to end. And she tries to do a little bit warning, but still, you know, it's the person is going to do what they're going to do. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And she's just a tool to, you know, this.
I always thought it was quite interesting that the witch is sitting there. Like, she's got this power. She's got this vision. She can control this as long as you say no. But it's an interesting fact that, like, she'll go through with this, but she's not really gaining anything out of it either.
I feel like that's just her purpose. You know what I mean?
Right. Like it's such an interesting concept because in most
because
ideas
we don't really
in
see
films,
her again, right?
Right. Like usually
you see her at the end of the film. That's it.
Like that meteor person would probably have something to gain, but she's not getting anything out of it. That's just human nature. It's like, hey man, I can hook you up with something, but you got to give me $50.
Well,
it's like people are always
give her gold and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But I mean, it's not her sole purpose.
Do you think she even wanted that? Like, do you think she would have just done it for free? You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting.
Well, that's the thing because she's so interesting.
Would do it. She doesn't. You don't know anything about her. She's so mysterious.
But she would do it for free because I mean, he was offering it up to her, and you're like, I mean, if you're being offered something, why not, right? But if she
she doesn't even acknowledge it really.
She would fucking ask if she wanted some shit, but that's not her purpose.
He just drops it on the table, and she doesn't even acknowledge it
it's
all.
because it's not what her purpose is. She doesn't give a shit about the material shit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an interesting idea, I think, that's overlooked in this film. Is like, that's very mysterious because, you kind of think that maybe, like, she would gain some more powers every time, Pumpkinhead is, every time she conjures him up, maybe she gets a piece of Ed or anybody's soul and stuff, but it's nothing like that. It has nothing to do with her gaining anything out of it. I find that so intriguing.
You get the sense that she's also, like, immortal in some form or another. You know what I mean? Like, that she's just the keeper of this power, and she's the mediator between it, and that's like her purpose.
Yeah, she's the watch witch.
She does.
She's the watch witch. It's interesting.
Pumpkinhead's I like it's it was really well thought out, right? Because you see how it ends, and you see her go pick up the now, what's left of Ed Harley and bury him then in the pumpkin patch so it could repeat the cycle at a future date.
If only we knew a shitty sequel was coming.
Well, that ignores the
part 2 is kind of a movie on its own. It has nothing to do with the original film.
I like how it's this repeating cycle thing, and I like how the necklace that the little stick figure type necklace that the kid got for Lance Henriksen, is still on the now like Pumpkinhead shriveled body thing,
which I always thought was quite interesting.
A little piece of the history of it with him.
Yeah.
And now he will be resurrected into the Pumpkinhead demon at a future date. I like that, and I also just like the beginning how they set it up where he sees it as a kid. You know what I mean? And I like that no matter what, it's unstoppable. It will fit. It's like death itself, right? Like Final Destination or something. Like it will leave everybody alone as long as you don't get in its way of the people that it's after.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody.
It just doesn't go around.
One of
the
coolest parts of the mythology is that right there, is that it's not just going to go and do harm to random people and shit like that. But it's, the fact that once it's conjured up, it has to finish what it started. I love that idea.
Yeah,
I love that idea because that's the only way you can really get, the person that's basically gave up their soul, dies.
Yes, because
so that
then
kills
it is
off the
completed.
demon.
Yeah,
so it's
paid for. At
that
point.
That in itself is such a simple idea. I mean, this is at heart, it's a
simple,
revenge film,
but it's also kind of complex. Like it's
exactly
what would be really simple is if the demon was conjured up, killed people, and then went away.
Well,
like there's also like how it's conjured up, how it's connected to the lead character, how it dies, how it.
Yeah, but we don't really get that much mythology about it, though.
I think that is a lot, though. I think that is a lot. It just seems simple because you're like, oh yeah, how the hell didn't anybody think of that? You know what I mean? But it actually is
precisely what I was trying to say. It's so simple, but it's a little bit more complex because at the core of what Pumpkinhead is a revenge film, but there's that on top of that. It's got these rules and this mythology to it that, I mean, think of another revenge film where the revengeful demon or whatever has to accomplish that before it just doesn't happen, right? That's actually pretty fucking cool for such a simple story. And
I love the fact that it's a witch out in the woods too. Like that is so cool.
I mean, it makes sense,
right?
Because
it could have just been, a spell or a book or something that, it's the fact that it's actually there's this creepy old witch out in the woods is awesome.
It has to be a witch though, man, because it has to be, a cult, black magic type. It just makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, but I can see other movies just having like a Necronomicon or like
Charlie Band,
a spell or like a voodoo chant that they read on voodooForDummies.com. Talking to you, Chucky. Or like I don't know, like I mean, I don't know.
That's what you write when you run out of fucking ideas. You go to Voodoo for Dummies and shit. Yeah.
Oh, that's a different story.
The performance of the witch is so good. I mean, the performances all around are good. The only weak is the teenagers.
Yeah,
I think that they are a little too basic at times. You know what I mean? They almost seem to be like catering a little bit towards like the traditional douchey teenage characters in movies, where everything else seems more grounded in reality and true to life. You have the teenagers who are just like the city folk, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you don't care. Honestly, I don't really think about them too much because you don't really care about them at all. They're very empty characters. I mean, even though most of them are trying to do good and meant good, it still doesn't show because it just doesn't matter. You don't give a shit about them, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
I love the character of Bunt in this movie. Because like it's basically all kind of his fault, but like he doesn't even realize it until like way later in the movie. He's like, "Oh wait, I took Ed Harley to the witch,"
which I always thought was kind of sloppy. It's like, dude, why the fuck would he not realize what Ed was doing?
Well, one thing, and I always thought that too, because he never knows that the kid is dead. If you watch the dialogue, he finds out later in the film. Because he knew that his father, he overheard that he was looking for it, but he never actually knows Ed Harley's kid is dead until he meets the teenagers and they tell him.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is true.
He could have, who knows, the witch might have had other fucking random shit that she could do for people that didn't involve Pumpkinhead, you know what I mean?
But he still knew that he was taking him to where the witch was. I mean, he didn't know why he was going out there, but he would suspect that,
But he's also a kid who's poor and has to work and do shitty lifting feet out of things, and Ed Harley gave him $10, so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could kind of get that too. I like that one of my favorite scenes in the film, it is such a good scene, is where Pumpkinhead like kills the dude and he's like grabbing his head and like lifting it up, and it's like his neck's clearly broken as shit, and the head just keeps flopping downwards. Dude, that shit is haunting. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Such a good scene, dude. Jeremy, do you have any trivia?
Oh shit, we're doing that.
I mean, you normally do it, right? The franchises.
There's probably,
I guess so.
There's probably like a.
I know. Oh, yeah. I posted about the guy that winks his eye. Oh no, is that this franchise? Yeah, it was this franchise. Was it? I can't remember. The guy when he's laying on the table who's dead and he blinks his eye when he's supposed to be dead.
I think my favorite scene is when Pumpkinhead throws the dude and he's on the bike.
Yeah, it's when Steve is lying dead on the cabin floor just before he's covered up by his brother. You could see his eye moving. I posted on the page me yelling about it.
Oh, okay.
You also
bitched that this kid, there's no way he was 10 or something.
Yeah, it's impossible.
He's 9 and a half or something.
You know what's funny about the kid in this film, man? When I was younger, I always used to think he was Peter Billingsley.
Who is that? Is that Ralphie?
That's Ralphie.
See, I used to think that too. Yeah,
he fucking looks just like him.
He does look really, really young, but yeah, he was 9.
Jeremy, it's Hendrickson.
Hendrickson.
You said Henderson.
It's Henriksen.
Okay, Lance Henriksen gathered all the silver dollars himself by visiting several pawn shops. He said that most of them fell through the floorboards of Haggis' shack, where they may still lie. Lance Henriksen had a set of dentures made to give him a more rural look. He also gathered all his own props and wardrobe, including a World War II pump-action shotgun, his cap worn throughout the film, and the silver dollars.
Yeah, I heard that in Near Dark, like the jacket he wears, he went and got he wrote like a bunch of history of the character, like backstory, like different things, like items and stuff, and he lined it inside the coat to like just for his own personal backstory of the character. You know what I mean? So he does shit like that. You know, he gets really into character.
The one scene that made Lance Henriksen most want to take the role was where the deceased Billy sits up and asks his father what he's done. An early scene introducing the young adults from the city at a diner was filmed but cut from the final version of the movie.
It also is based on a poem. We never mentioned that.
This film, orphaned by the bankruptcy of De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, eventually garnered...
De Laurentiis.
Thanks. If you want to do it then, you want to read it, JP?
What do you mean? You literally criticize everything I ever type, so I don't want to fucking hear it, dude.
Eventually garnered a spot release when acquired by United Artists, which tested the film under the alternate title Vengeance the Demon.
Pumpkinhead's way better than that. Right? Vengeance the Demon, that would be such an awful title.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's it.
The dog. You didn't even mention the dog.
Oh, about how it's the same dog from fucking Gremlins?
Yeah.
Is it really?
The screenwriter said they were inspired by horror movies of Mario Bava.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you go. Interesting.
All right. Ratings?
Why don't you go first?
Okay, so I absolutely love Pumpkinhead.
No way.
When I seen it always has been like in my top 20-ish, 30-ish horror films or whatever. But the last time that I watched it, I thought it was like it didn't hit me like it normally did. So I was kind of scared that the luster of it had worn off. But watching it this time, perfect mood and atmosphere again. It's getting close to October. Definitely such a good time to watch this. You know what I mean? The atmosphere is so thick in this film. The fog and just Haggis's cottage and stuff is so good. It's a fast movie. It's under an hour and a half. It flies by. It's a perfect revenge tale in a what do they call it in the tagline? Like a dark fairy tale or something like that. I dig that tagline. There's some cool posters for this film too. The new commission artwork Scream Factory did was dope. The original Pumpkinhead with holding a pumpkin one is good, and then even the reverse Factory. What's that, Jeremy?
Nothing.
I thought you had something to say. The reverse art is pretty cool too. I need to get a different poster for Pumpkinhead, like one of the original arts or something. I really like it. I love this movie. I'm coming in at a 9 out of 10. Oh, the one other thing that's wrong with it is when the kid gets killed, it's kind of weak. He just like falls to the ground.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention that. Those were the only two negatives. Was
doesn't really get ran over.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not dead yet though. When he first,
I guess that's possible. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Well,
yeah, his eyes are wide open, bro. And he's blinking and shit.
Yeah, man.
Really? I did not notice that ever while watching it.
Pumpkinhead is a it's a really good movie, man. Honestly, I've seen this movie lots of times, and I'm always fascinated on how a film can just capture a bond so fast and just have such great pacing, and have so much emotion in it. I think that's what sells this film the most. There's, the scene obviously when Ed's son is hit by the bike and doesn't die, because there's actually a scene where when Ed comes back and he carries his son to his bed, and he's kind of
down in the dumps.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. But he's not dead.
That's an understatement.
He's not dead yet. He's just kind of... Ed knows he's going to pass away, and he's kind of just saying his last things to him. But his son...
Damn, I always thought he was dead from the first...
No,
Jesus.
Because there's a scene where, when he's holding him in the bed and he's kind of rubbing his head and stuff, and his son says, "Daddy," takes his last breath and dies.
What? Where is it? What are you talking about?
And
that happens?
It's in there.
Fucking rights it does. That's why he doesn't die. He doesn't die when he gets hit by the bike. But that raw emotion right there, is insane because you can see Ed, you can see in his face, he's just like, I lost my son, and he's fucking like, it's just so it's one of the most emotional scenes you could ever see in a horror film. There's not too many scenes, even in general films, that are, you know, that captivating, because it's so amazing because we only spent so many minutes with these characters to have that happen, and it grips you right away. I think that's why this whole movie works so well, you know, as a basic kind of revenge film with a cool mythology and stuff. Is that part right there that sets it up right there. I can't believe you've missed this part like 100 times, man. You've seen this movie how many times?
I've seen this movie so many times. I've always thought the kid was dead. I thought, like, I seen his hand move and shit, but I just thought it was like, oh, like, that's a movie flub. Like, child actor doesn't know how to hold still.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But no, he literally says daddy and then takes his last breath, and
dude,
in the bed. It's fucking brutal. And then that kind of sets off Ed. Yeah, man, there's one thing I love about this film. I love this small town feel. I love that it actually feels, which we'll get to. We'll talk about this when we get to the part 3 and 4. The settings for those films, because they weren't filmed in America. But this one feels right. It captures it so well. I always thought that, I've drove through a lot of states in America, and I've seen small little shit towns and things that I thought that they were never going to find our bodies. You know, if my car broke down, like, there was areas just like this kind of thing. Captured very well. Atmosphere is awesome. You can see the Italian influence in that atmosphere in the woods and shit, the way it's shot. It's so Italian right there. But Pumpkinhead himself, man, the effects, absolutely amazing. You can't go wrong with this. I'm also at a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great film. I think it's really unique in its style because you don't capture emotion like this at all in horror films much.
8.5 from me.
8.5.
I got a question, JP.
Yeah.
So when Ed decides in this film that, you know, there becomes a point when when Pumpkinhead has taken out all these teenagers one by one and shit, and he kind of realizes that, you know, this isn't for him. He doesn't really want this anymore. Right? Do you think it's because Pumpkinhead is killing off more or less the people that were just associated with it, or do you think that he can't handle the pain and torture of his soul anymore? Do you think he wants to stop Pumpkinhead to save those lives because he realizes that, you know, he's killing off more people that, you know, shouldn't be killed off, basically?
I think that what the film's trying to say is that, like, you might want vengeance, but then when you actually have it on your hands and you see how painful a death is, and I think that I've always got the sense that he kind of feels what they're feeling a little bit too. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just like,
well, in a literal form though, because within the mythology, he's actually, like, once those people are getting killed, or when they get killed, he literally feels their pain. But I always thought maybe he, like, just couldn't fucking take it anymore. He's like, hey, that's enough torture on me.
I think it's both. Like, I think it's just everything.
I always think I think it is too. I always thought it was kind of, he's had enough. He can't take this torturing. He already knows that he's going to hell. He might as well end this now, because why prolong it and watch the other 6 or 7 people, whatever it is, die and have to still go through all that extra pain when you don't have to, right?
I think you also just realize that, like, you know, maybe killing people isn't the best thing. Like,
it is the moral of the story, though, right? It's like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, 2 wrongs don't make a fucking right.
Yeah,
essentially. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff, but just so much, it just works on so many different levels. It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it just goes to prove, you know, you don't need a crazy, artsy, confusing, insane script to make a really interesting film.
Yeah, fantastic. Love Pumpkinhead, man. Always have.
It's a good film. You know, in a sense, it's a little bit underrated because when you look,
I don't think it gets the credit of how.
It's because
it's not put up there with the Hellraisers and the, you know, other, you know, second level type of horror movies.
You know why? It's because it's a fucking essentially a creature feature. You know, it's a fucking creature killing people. It's like in slasher form a little bit, but it's a creature.
It is, actually.
You know, it's literally like one by one. It's, you know, it's the same thing. But I think it's the creature feature element. I mean, if you put a slasher, an actual person, into the place of Pumpkinhead, I think people would recognize it a little bit more for what it is.
It's that and the fact that he picks up a gun one time. It's the damn guns, dude.
I mean, fuck, you put the driller killer from Slumber Party Massacre in here. What do you got? What do you got?
Yeah.
Probably more recognition, man.
Did you know you actually have rated this film on the show before?
What did I rate it?
Episode 24, which was the OG Toolbox Murders versus the remake Toolbox Murders.
What the? Why was I talking about Pumpkinhead? That's weird. I don't remember even talking about it.
Maybe Scream Factory release had just come out.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I think it was your pick of the week, actually.
Shit.
Or it was in Quick Cuts back when we did that.
Which quick cuts? Yeah. Quick cuts were never quick cuts.
Yeah, that was like probably one of my worst ideas. Because me and Jeremy never had any.
Yep.
It was just me listing off 46 films I watched throughout the week.
You gave it actually a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think 9's appropriate for it. It's not a perfect film. It's definitely not perfect. I mean...
Yeah, it's...
I mean, to be honest, like... A lot of the acting from most of the teenagers in the film are pretty bad.
Yeah.
You can tell they're pretty
I think that's
amateur
the weakest
acting.
Part, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, actually. I agree. I mean... So...
All right.
Hey! There he is. Turn it down, you fuck. Hear us. Come on. Let's finish this thing once and for all.
But moving along here, man. So we're jumping from the 80s into the early 90s, 1993 to be exact, with Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings, directed by Jeff Burr. And I don't know why, but we've been reviewing a lot of Jeff Burr films.
Because he makes all the shitty sequels.
It's crazy, man. So yeah, so recent, like we did Leatherface 3, Stepfather 2, Puppet Master
4 and 5.
Now, this is like this is crazy. I can't believe how many films we've almost reviewed all of his horror films. It's older ones.
Yeah.
By chance.
Without doing a spotlight.
That's really bizarre. So but yeah, Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings.
Blood Wings, 1993.
Thrill-seeking teenagers resurrect a demon from his grave, and a bloody rampage for revenge begins.
What an
This is one that used to play on HBO all the time when I was a kid.
I'm fucking curious on why me and Jeremy apparently are in the minority on Pumpkinhead 2 for not liking.
Awful.
I've never liked this movie for.
It's really it's a really fun movie.
Feels like Children of the Corn 2.
One of my main reasons.
It does. That's what I actually compared to that a little
and
bit.
It's awful.
See, okay, there's no comparison in the movies here, what I'm going to say, but the way this franchise goes, it reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street, because you got the first one, then you got the second one that's kind of like, it's kind of like its own thing, you know? And
It's completely rewrites the history of Pumpkinhead.
And then part 3, which is a direct sequel to part 1, same thing in the fucking Elm Street franchise. So I always kind of compared these like that, but Pumpkinhead 2 is always discouraging to me. I don't think it's the worst movie in the world ever made. It's discouraging that they decided to stray away from making an actual, sequel to the original film. They later on went ahead and did that. I think it was a little bit too late. They probably could have worked a little bit better here. But this one, I don't know, as a standalone film,
the acting sucks.
I think if you take this right out of the Pumpkinhead franchise, if it was just the film by itself, I'd probably honestly like it a little bit more. This one just bugs the hell out of me, man. First of all,
I don't mind the story though. That's
the thing.
Like,
I fucking hate the story, and I hate the way it develops. It's so fucking. I mean, I get it. Okay, this film opens up with a prologue, and it's basically shot in black and white.
It's sad, dude.
And it's a bunch of fucking, just asshole
terrible
teenagers.
Human beings.
Terrible fucking assholes. There's what did I call them? The Bebop and Bullies. I think that was my 2-word review on on
The
Letterboxd.
B-52s, but fucking assholes.
They pull up
It
lists of
reminds
Bebop
me of
music.
like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow.
Yeah, so these guys, they just, I mean, it's just so unwarranted too. Like, they're just dicks, man. They just show up at this Mongoloid's
the dude
house.
literally doesn't do anything. Like, he's just like eating his dog food.
Sandwich,
Yeah, they just like show up at this fucking Mongoloid's place, harass the shit out of him, and essentially kill him.
Stabs him. Yep.
Yeah, they fucking stab the shit out, which is even more brutal in itself because, like,
yeah,
who
it's not
does
like
that?
They accidentally knock him into the fucking oil hole. You know what I mean? The mine shaft or whatever. They literally like cut him up into pieces, like stab the shit out of him, and then drop him in. Like,
and which
like it's
okay. I've always had a major problem with this because when you take characters or people like this, I mean, if you're willing to just go and stab the shit out of, you're not normal in the head, but it jumps to the present day, and now all these people have like really good jobs. They're mayors and they're fucking, or you know, they're judges and shit like that. I'm like, give me a fucking. People like that don't grow up to be judges. You don't go and stab people.
Sometimes they do.
Oh, here we
It's
go.
happened.
Fucking
Here
way.
we go with JP.
The whole development of the story is so fucking stupid. I always hated it. I was like, there's no way this is happening. It's just insane to me. It's insane to me. And I really do hate how they changed Pumpkinhead's mythology in this. Of course, this is kind of like its standalone film and stuff, but the mythology is a lot different too.
The thing about it is, like, I'm cool with it. Like, I'm okay with it, but I just don't know. It could have worked as a Pumpkinhead. You could have done the same mythology with this, technically. You know what I mean? So, but I did actually watch most of the behind the scenes interview with Jeff Burr. Apparently this legitimately was another film at one point, and it was Hellraisered into a Pumpkinhead film.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Now it totally makes I did not know that, but now I knew something was up with this movie.
Yeah. He said when he first read the script, he was really disappointed because he really liked the first one.
Yeah.
And he was like hoping to make, like, you know, the same thing, but different. And he was really disappointed when he read the script. But apparently they had spent so much time with the film already. They were supposed to shoot a couple times, and like some writers fell out and stuff like that. And they had literally like they had paid for like certain locations already. It literally needed to be shot immediately because they were burning money every day that it wasn't shot. So that's why it ended up like this.
Yeah. So
it makes sense. It feels
it just
like
loses all that atmosphere that the
film
has.
The thing is, there's
I mean, there is
absolutely none.
There's some,
and you don't care about the characters. Like they're awful. They
when Pumpkinhead actually starts going after the teens and stuff, there is some atmosphere. Like when he kills Linnea Quigley and them, there's some decent like lighting and stuff that's going on outside of the barn. When he kills the judge, there's some good lighting in that scene, and some decent effects with the hands and stuff like that. So there's some decent shots and stuff in that. But yeah, that it's a completely different movie. This is like a 90s teen, teeny.
But I don't care about any of them.
It's not even that. Like, I mean, I didn't really care about the characters in the first film that much either. But this one, I hate the way. So what we get here is, you know, the son of the judge. You know, he was like the king asshole back in the day, and his son, you know, is the splitting image. He's the splitting image of his fucking father. He's a total asshole. And they're literally just these characters that don't give a fuck about anything. Like, they're just out to do whatever. And that's the thing I don't like about the setup here. You know, they just go and fucking find this, you know, this potion, and they go and resurrect a demon. But the point I'm trying to make here is, why did they fucking do it?
Well, see, I would do some shit like that, but the problem that comes that the problem with the story is that how vicious they are towards the old woman that makes it completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why would anybody like just murder an old woman? You know what I mean? Like, I would totally, if you told me dump this blood on this grave, and I would do that because I don't believe in any of that shit. So I would be like, I don't give a fuck, I'll do it. You know what I mean?
You have to remember, there's a guy who throws corn hawks at people. So.
But it literally makes
what
no
did you
sense.
used to do back in the day where you used to throw corn?
Just corn. Yeah, of course. Everybody did that as a kid.
Sure.
But I guess they're trying to showcase that, that the judge's son is exactly like him. They just do violent things for the sake of doing violent things and stuff. But it would have been more interesting in the story if they really thought that it was actually going to work and there was a reason to resurrect the demon and stuff. But there really isn't. They just resurrect this demon.
No, they just literally are fucking around, and the chick's kind of seems like she's into the little witchy craft stuff, and she's like, this is some serious stuff, guys, and then of course, but I can totally. It's like the same reason you play with a Ouija board inside an old abandoned house, right? Like you don't think anything's actually going to happen, you know what I mean? So you're just
for movie's sake, though, it'd be more interesting if there was actually, it was progressing to something bigger. They're just fucking whatever.
Well, the main story here, though, is that Pumpkinhead's seeking revenge on the people who killed his son.
I know, but this is the story that they came up with to resurrect Pumpkinhead.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Accidental.
It's so weak in itself. I understand what Pumpkinhead's doing.
I like it.
He gets revenge.
It doesn't bug me too bad.
He's obviously.
The story is very weird with how they explain Pumpkinhead in this one, because so they pretty much throughout the story of the original Pumpkinhead, even the old witch is not the same witch. They have a different name. It's not Hag. It's like Messy or Missy or something.
Actually, the witch in all these films looks different too.
OC, yeah, Miss OC or whatever. So, okay, the one way that you could technically connect it, right? So, check it out. They mention in the first Pumpkinhead that they bury kin that they were ashamed of in that cemetery. So we know that originally the original Pumpkinhead demon was someone they were ashamed of that was buried back there. So technically it probably could have been a real person at one point, just like Ed Harley was a real person and ended up as that demon body. So he could have had a son, and this is that son who was in a neighboring area who grew up in the woods because his Pumpkinhead father, the original guy who was, the kin they were ashamed of, had a kid, and then he lived in the woods because he was obviously abandoned because his dad died and turned into Pumpkinhead or whatever. And this old woman, OC, took care of this kid. And then they killed him, buried him in this area, and then that's how by proxy the Pumpkinhead demon is connected to this kid. It actually kind of could work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it was set in the same county, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, what county is it? Do they mention where it's set? Did they mention where the first one's set?
I believe so. I think they do.
Right.
But it's clearly not the same. It's clearly
not the same area, but also,
there's no woods.
I mean, I could see the connection if it was the same area.
Went pretty far. I mean,
that could have been the simple connection. Is just having it's the same area. That would totally actually be a connection right there. But I don't think it is at all. So it
doesn't look like the same area. This is definitely more of a modernized area. Yeah. But again, just in this town, if you drive a half hour north, you're going to end up in the boonies, but you drive a half hour the other way and you're going to end up in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Technically north would be Pittsburgh, south would be the boonies, but you get what I'm saying? So it's not so these places are close. There are areas like this that are close together.
So you're cool with, this film kind of changing mythology and stuff, or
you know what I mean? The same way I don't care about, any Halloween 3, right? Completely different movie, whatever. It's just a different story.
No. There's a difference between Halloween 3 and Pumpkinhead 2.
There definitely is. There's a difference because this one has a similar. I'm trying to think of another film that is very different than the first. Maybe Pet Sematary 2. I like that one. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of cool with it. Would I prefer if it was like an actual Pumpkinhead movie? Yeah, I would prefer that. But I've always liked this one. I thought it was fun as a kid. I rewatched it, and I hadn't seen this in a long time. And I still was like, yeah, I still have
Zach give this mofo a 10 out of 10?
Zach is dumb.
I don't understand that.
There's actually a pretty interesting line in the film when they walk through that one area, and the guy's
Pet
like,
Cemetery?
"The fuck is this Pet Cemetery?"
Yeah,
I'm glad they said that, because that's the same thing I was thinking of.
Yeah, well, it literally looks the same area.
They shouldn't have went down that road.
It just instantly. I mean, if you pay attention for a long time, it doesn't, but it totally reminds you of Pet Cemetery. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
but one thing I do like, Pumpkinhead doesn't look overly that bad in this film. Maybe a little bit.
No, it looks great.
Maybe
it doesn't look bad in any of these films unless it's like a long shot. Then he looks like shit.
I can't remember what shot it is, but he looks a little bit rubbery in one spot. But I'm like, whatever. He looks okay, which actually kind of shocks me. Considering coming off of Winston's design, and then this is obviously a new one, but looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah. You know what? Like, this is like the Chainsaw 2 of Pumpkinhead films. You know what I mean?
No, not even close, bro.
What do you? No, I mean in terms of like difference, like in terms of tonal difference. You get what I'm saying? Like Chainsaw 2 is completely different.
I
don't
guess
think?
So. No.
Moods?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. But there's still a connection there, though, right?
Yeah.
To TCM 2, there's still a connection. This one, I feel like
I did make a connection that kind of works, though.
Yeah, but the problem is I don't think it's set in the same areas. So I mean, if it's based on where they're buried,
let's say it was like 15 miles away, right? Like, that's not possible for this kid to travel 15 miles through the woods. Maybe he was chased out of his original place,
But I mean, it's so far-fetched, right? I feel like this is totally.
I mean, it's far-fetched that there's a Mongoloid living in the woods to begin with, though.
See, I don't think they were even trying to make a connection here at all. I think it's a standalone film.
But I'm saying it can totally work.
Well, I mean, if you put it into perspective of anything, you could probably do that with anything. Yeah. I personally don't think it. I mean, yeah, can someone walk 50 miles? For sure. I mean, that's totally plausible, right? But I just think in this context, I think it's just its own thing. I think it's way off, and I mean, there's no problem with that. You
don't have fun with like any of the kills, like Kane Hodder and his fucking brother.
No, some of the kills are okay. Some of the kills are okay in this film.
Linnea, come on, that Linnea scene's awesome.
Yeah,
like the villains in this one are completely mustache twirly. Like, it's a prime example of a movie that's not really taking itself that serious.
The mayor looks retarded.
I mean, I guess it is taking itself serious, but I feel like the actors were kind of aware.
I just really, like I said, man, I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. Some of the kills are good. I give props for them designing a decent Pumpkinhead, too. Soundtrack is fucking awful in this film. There's so many fucking bad music sucks in this film.
See, I like
so many characters that you just fucking want to die. I guess that's the point. They're supposed to be all shitheads, but it's just not enjoyable to me, man. There's just so many choices and so many things that are happening. I mean, right from the sheriff's daughter right away, like, she's this bad girl. Of course she's the fucking bad. Everything's so damn cliche.
That was so cliche in the 90s, though. That was new back then. They didn't do that in the 80s, really. Like, the kid that got kicked out of their school in the previous town, and now they're here. You know what I mean?
But she's like this badass, like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm not going to the school. I'm going over here. Like, I'm rolling with you. Like, I just met you 2 seconds ago. You're going fucking rolling?
The girl is really unlikable too, though, because like, you're like, what do you see in this douchebag? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She clearly likes him, you know what I mean? But it's just like, why? But I really like this movie. I think it's a blast, dude. Well, I've always had fun with it.
Actually, another thing I really have always disliked about this film too, and I thought it was so fucking stupid, that Pumpkinhead is kind of toying with them too. You know, he's not just straight up walking into their places and taking them out and shit. He's literally fucking with their heads, and he's leaving those little Red Wing trails, and he's fucking with their heads and shit. Really?
Well, it's a different Pumpkinhead too. It's not. This is not.
I know. I just don't like that.
Pumpkinhead
But any type of person that's out for revenge has one goal: to fucking get revenge, not to play mind games and fuck with people's heads and shit. And I understand from a movie
I don't think
standpoint.
he's necessarily.
Oh, but he is. But he is though, man.
think it's
Even the
just
judge, when he looks up and he's like, "Oh, Red Wings, fuck!" Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, something's going. Like, I mean, you got to build that tension a little bit. I understand that, but it's a fucking creature out for revenge. That's so stupid, man. This isn't
the
like
whole point of the Red Wings is just to let the guy from Hellraiser like investigate this shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's an investigative narrative with the guy from Hellraiser. What's that guy's name?
But that shit doesn't have to be there though. That whole investigative narrative,
Frank's brother.
I like that stuff.
Is kind of retarded. I mean, if I'm gonna watch an investigative narrative, I'm gonna pop in a Giallo, man, not a Pumpkinhead 2 movie.
Yeah, and then you'll be bored to death.
No, fuck off. Give me a break. I mean, come on. The whole subplot with the police investigation. I mean, give me a break. It's a creature feature revenge film. We don't need that shit, man. It just feels so off kilter, and it seems awkward.
It's a product of its time, man. This
really
movie is.
But you have to admit,
this dude is straight 90s.
it's a really bad script on all levels. Like, everything's so cliche in this film.
It's really sloppy.
It's
really
so cliche. It's the one part of the film that always makes me laugh.
Because here's the thing,
but
dude. Right?
But cliche
like,
fun is
cliches
good.
in the 80s of like, oh, it's like Slumber Party Massacre is super fucking cliche. It's as cliche as they come. But people love Slumber Party Massacre. I'm not saying Pumpkinhead 2 is great, but I'm saying the cliches we excuse in the 80s, and for some reason we pick apart in the 90s. Maybe enough time hasn't passed.
That's not entirely true, man. I mean, there's certain films too. I'm not
Idle Hands. Examples. You don't pick across, and that movie's super 90s.
Well, I don't pick apart any of them because I like 90s movies.
I like a lot of 90s movies too. I've never had a problem with
1990s. What was that? What it was?
Yeah, man. Then that's a series me defending 90s movies. I wasn't gonna have Pumpkinhead 2 in there.
Should.
but it's just
listen.
Shit,
I know Pumpkinhead 2 is bad. It got bad things in it, but this is a film where the fun factor, and this is why I say that like fun factor shouldn't matter that much in a critique, because fun factor is it's like the most subjective thing out of anything. Like, we could look at Pumpkinhead and say that is a good creature design, right? Technically it's opinion, and somebody can be like, that's a bad creature design. But at the end of the day, it's something more it's less subjective, because it's like there's certain rules to something that looks decent, but like fun factor is just like, I like it because it appeals to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's really weird, but I really like Pumpkinhead 2 because I find everything about it entertaining. Like, I don't even not like anything, really. You know what I mean?
It's so weird. I don't find it entertaining at all. I mean, like I said, try to disconnect myself from the first one, knowing that this one is, pretty much a standalone film. I just don't like the way it develops at all. I think it's retarded. It's like absolutely retarded.
Dumb.
It is fucking so stupid. And it's got like, it's got some parts, like the scene where Pumpkinhead picks up the dude and he breaks his back. That whole fucking scene is ruined because of that shitty ass country music. What is this, fucking Howling Part 7?
I love
What is this, Howling Part 7?
That is the best way to die in a movie.
Shitty country music?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude,
but that was some
character
bad shit.
So well, this sleazy ass redneck in this fucking thing, and Linnea, and
that mayor had to be the fucking most 90s looking dude I've ever seen in my life with that fucking mullet. Like,
oh no,
Jesus
dude, the
Christ.
kids are the most the black kid, the long-haired, black-haired kid. Like, dude, they are super 90s.
Well, I'm a fake ass nigga 90s kid, so I don't know anything.
You know what?
As JP says.
Saying the N-word.
Did you just say nigga?
That's what JP said I am.
I didn't say the N-word.
I would never thought that word would get brought up in a Pumpkinhead 2 review. That's insane. But you know what? You know what else?
I was supposed to tell Andrew that. So
you know what else is really sloppy, JP? Is the dude, the hunter guy, the redneck dude. Yeah. How in the fuck does he know that there's something going on out there? There's like no development with the character. He just kind of has this hunch that there's something bad out there. There's something going on. Like, he just kind of comes to the sheriff's office and he's talking to, his old friend kind of thing, right?
He said that he was. I think he said that he saw the kids up at OC's house or whatever.
But I think Pumpkinhead had already been released, or like something was already going on with Pumpkinhead anyways. Like he'd already been doing some shit. But like,
I can't remember.
But how did he know? Yeah, I mean, the kids could have been up there, or whatever. Remember. But like, he's kind of implying that, you know, there's something out there. Like he's implying that Pumpkinhead's out there, kind of.
Because he's a doomsayer, like Crazy Ralph.
I guess, right? I'm just like, how the fuck did he know that? I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It's sloppy writing. Sloppy
R.A. Manhoff and Kane Hodder up in this bitch. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I will give him
we
credit,
never
though.
mentioned that the guy at the beginning of the first Pumpkinhead is Dick Warlock.
Oh, yeah.
Who played Myers in Part 2, I believe. Andrew Robertson, that's his name. That's the dad/sheriff in this film. He was Frank and Kirsty's father in Hellraiser.
So you want some trivia?
I will say both the girls that are in this film are good looking.
Mm-hmm.
They're attractive.
Let's see. The Book of the Dead prop from Army of Darkness is on display inside the Miss Ozzy's house.
Yeah, because K&B did the effects in this one, I think. Yep. And they did the effects in that.
I actually had that written down. Shit.
Yeah. Shot in 24 days. Judge Dixon's house is the same location used in Motel Hell.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can actually
is that why that looks familiar?
Yeah.
Jesus. That's cool. That's cool.
All three original Pumpkinhead films have connections to Hellraiser. Andrew Robinson, Doug Bradley, and Lance Hendrickson all acted in both franchises.
Why did they not say all four?
Maybe that was a typo.
According to Jeff Burr on the DVD auto commentary, a few short seconds were cut from the film in order to avoid an NC-17. These were mainly from Pumpkinhead clawing up the farmer in the first death scene and from the monster's own death at the end. And when Pumpkinhead burst into the judge's house, you could see the tennis shoes the actor Pumpkinhead is wearing.
Shit, I didn't even see that. All right, so ratings. Moods.
Again, Pumpkinhead. No, what was it? Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. Yeah, it's it's not the worst movie in the world. It's definitely watchable. I mean, if you just kind of turn your mind
watchable.
Off, at least Pumpkinhead looks good. I'll give him that. And some of the kills in the film are pretty good, even though some are
this
ruined
one
by
is
shitty
definitely
ass music.
A Pumpkinhead slasher. You know
It's
what I mean?
just-
Like to the next extent.
Yeah, oh my god, the whole setup in this movie, like I said, it's beyond me. There's a lot of sloppiness to it, a lot of sloppy writing and shit. But it is watchable. I don't get the praise for this film at all. I don't see what the fuck people are seeing in this, man.
I don't think people are praising
I don't
it.
find it overly that entertaining. I find it actually kind of slow at times, to be honest. For a film that runs just under 90 minutes, there is a lot of downtime in this, surprisingly.
What? Ain't no downtime.
There is. There's some long ass scenes and you're just like, oh my god, Christ. I mean, at least if you're gonna have atmosphere in those fucking scenes, it's giving you something. It's not giving you boredom. But yeah, man, I've never been with this one. I don't know if I've ever rated this film before. I feel like I have, but my rating's no surprise. I've said this many times. 4.5 out of 10.
Okay, so your original rating on episode 31 was a 5.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Which was forever ago as well.
So, rewatching again, 4.5 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
All right. I like me some Pumpkinhead 2. I think that it is really fun. There's some great kills in it. I love the look of Pumpkinhead. He's pretty awesome. It's like a slasher film, man, to me. It's like, yeah, the story's a little silly and stuff like that. And the one thing that always I crack up at, and it's not supposed to be funny. It's actually really sad, but it's at the end when Andrew Robertson's like, Tommy, remember, she's my daughter, Tommy. remember. And he's like, Tommy, I saved your life. Remember, Tommy? And it's just like this Pumpkinhead looking around, like just standing there all tall as fucking shit. He's like it's weird seeing Pumpkinhead think, you know what I mean? Which is weird because is this supposed to be fucking Tommy or Pumpkinhead, like his dad? It doesn't make any sense with that.
No, it doesn't.
It's supposed to be both or something? I don't know.
That's it. I'm coming in at a 4. No, I'm just joking.
But yeah, it's sad when Pumpkinhead gets like killed by all the people. Like you feel bad for Pumpkinhead. He's like just trying to get a little revenge, and they're just like blowing him away. And shit.
They blast the shit
and
out
it's like hanging there, and then you get like intercut with Tommy. Some good filmmaking by Jeff Burr right there. And I'm coming in at a 7 out of 10 for Pumpkinhead to Blood Wings. Fuck you guys. I don't care.
Didn't this just happen too? Didn't we have like a huge? Oh yeah, that was
Curse
on
of Puppet Master.
Curse of Puppet Master for show. For show. That's
So sad.
twice in the
How do you
last
get
3
this
shows
out of
that's happened, man. 3-point difference. Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The Nun too. He gave a higher rating than.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Insane.
He's just stupid. So.
Pumpkinhead, Ashes to Ashes, the next installment of the Pumpkinhead series.
All right, man. So moving along, 13 years later, in 2006, we get Pumpkinhead 3, also known as Pumpkinhead, Ashes to Ashes. This one here is directed by Jake West.
Who can't direct?
I think this was... Oh, fuck, he's actually done some pretty funny movies, man. He's the guy that directed... Doghouse. Yes. Doghouse was fun, man. It was fun. I think he did something else that I liked. I can't remember. But...
This is like vintage... mid-2000s direct-to-video / direct-to-TV movies. So, like, all you have to do is, get 1 to 2 horror icons in it and go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's what they were all about back then.
All right, so...
I just have, like, one confusing thing in this movie.
Yeah,
well, let him get into the plot first.
All right. Residents of a small backwoods community summon the murderous demon of vengeance, himself for revenge against a local mortician who wronged their deceased loved ones, while a town physician seeks to kill those involved in its summoning. So, we have... Yes, our big stars in this film are, of course, Lance Hendrickson and Doug Bradley from Pinhead. Doug Bradley plays...
From Pinhead? You mean from Hellraiser?
From Hellraiser. Whatever. Fuck, I'm tired.
Me too.
But kind of cool, man, to see Doug Bradley in a different role. And he's actually pretty damn good in this film, too.
He's in it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, man? Let me just say this off the top. I had bought both of these. I got them for Christmas. My grandmother actually bought them for me in, like, 2012. And I had just found out they existed. And I was like, holy shit, they made 2 more Pumpkinhead movies. And all I knew is they were made for Sci-Fi Channel movies. For whatever reason, I never saw them on TV. Even at that era, I would watch the Sci-Fi originals a lot. Because honestly, Sci-Fi originals were not always stupid sharks in space. You know what I mean? Like, they actually made some interesting, like, fun, lower budget independent films at one point. And I popped them in, and right away, I was absolutely surprised at 2 things. One, that they had Lance Henriksen, because I didn't know, because he's actually not on the cover of the DVD. And then 2, that it actually had continuity and characters from the original, like Bunt and Haggis. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. I was like so impressed by that. I just never expected it with a Sci-Fi original sequel to, like, clearly trying to just cash in on whatever name Pumpkinhead had with horror fans.
Yeah,
I just didn't expect that.
I give them props, man, for the writers and Jake West and, at least doing the research and deciding to do a, direct sequel to the first one. So that's kind of cool. At least it shows that it's, but yeah, so Doug Bradley plays a doctor / black market distributor. He's basically stealing people's organs and selling them on the black markets. And so when it all kind of comes out, there's a bunch of dead bodies that are revealed and shit. some
Well,
family.
well, what
no
has
sense.
happens? What happens is, he hires Bunt to like do like the handiwork, and like get rid of the corpses. And he's basically throwing them in a swamp. And there's just a dude like walking his dog in the woods, and he catches Bunt doing it.
Yeah.
And then he like runs, but then he ends up at the mortuary, or I think it's a crematorium or something that he ends up at, and he sees them actually like stealing body parts.
Yeah.
Like in the basement. And they're like, how'd he get in here? Even though he just like walked through the open doors. And so that's what like sets them off, and they go and drain the swamp. And
how the
pull
fuck
out
do
all
they
the
let the
bodies.
doctor go? Even though he fucking drives the pickup truck with the crematorium logo on the side and all this shit. It's
because they don't necessarily know, because he's like respected in the town and stuff, and they didn't know.
Yeah, but it's at his crematorium, so it's like, don't you think he would know? That's a little bit fucking bullshit.
Which in itself, I even questioned when I was watching this movie too. I'm like, if it's at a crematorium, you can get rid of the evidence by.
Bro, I thought the same thing. I was like, wait, why are they throwing them in the fucking swamp when they're in they literally could just burn them.
Yeah, like that's the best way of getting rid of evidence, because
when
it
you
leaves
find a bunch
nothing.
of bodies without organs in the fucking swamp, you're gonna be like, wait a minute.
I know it's
that's like one of the bigger plot holes in the entire.
It is, man. It's kind of silly. Anyways, a young kid is revealed in there, and then of course the town folk decide that they want to get revenge. Because they
all know old little Haggis, because they also find Ed Harley's body. So it's been a long time. Apparently, Pumpkinhead hasn't been conjured up in quite a while, because it's still the original Ed Harley Pumpkinhead demon thing that's buried out in the pumpkin patch.
See, I always thought that this was the next time. This being a direct sequel to the first one.
It is the next time.
Yeah, so it's literally the next time, which is kind of cool that they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, so they actually find it buried out there near the swamp.
No, they just needed a way to bring Lance Henderson back.
So they bring that body, which is like clearly a little different than the other ones. And then Haggis shows up, and she's like, "This one's mine."
Yeah, yeah.
And so she takes
which is kind of interesting in itself too, right? Because we were talking about how she doesn't really retain or take anything and stuff, but at that point, she's claiming that this is hers.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
It adds to the fact that she's the guardian of that Pumpkinhead thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So she basically, they conjure up Pumpkinhead to get revenge on these fucks. The only one thing that I wish they would have did, it would have been a nice attention to detail, is if they named Bunt's sister Hessie, because that was her name in the original, but it's something different in this one. But he did have other sisters, so it's fine. I'm just saying the only sister
I was just gonna say he has like 10 sisters.
Yeah, but it would have been cool if they made it the one that was named in the original. You know what I mean? They already done so much. I can't hate them for it, but if I was making it, I would have named her.
They got the essentials right. I mean, they managed to write Ed Harley back into it, which was kind of cool. He's not in the film a whole lot. He's
pretty cool how they bring him back. Yeah. He's like, and I just liken it to the fact that he does commit suicide, or somewhat. So maybe he's in a purgatory instead of straight like hell.
No, I think he mentions it in dialogue that this is his duty now. He has to come back. He's forced for eternity to let people know, as kind of the good ghost, not to go through with this, or else you're going to end up like him. He's kind of like, he turns into almost like a guardian angel in a sense.
Yeah, so he like his last, the fact that he does something different than the previous people, where he just kills himself to stop it, and it doesn't exact the revenge, kind of stops him from going to hell and actually being, stuck in like the purgatory, like angel thing. That I actually think that's pretty fucking smart.
Yeah, it's not bad actually.
Yeah,
I mean, it actually makes sense to the story.
Yeah, which is weird that anything would make sense in this. Like, you expect it to be completely shit, and it's just like, it actually has some strong points.
It does, man. I think the whole story in the setup in this film is actually pretty cool. I actually like the whole, besides the obvious massive fucking plot hole with the crematorium that doesn't, if you kind of put that off to the side. It's kind of cool.
I even tried to sit there and think of a reason why, like, maybe, like, what would the reason be? Like, what would...
Here we go,
JP
trying to think shit like he always does.
Yeah.
Well, it could be this.
But you don't do that when you watch a movie. You see a problem and you're like, well, what reason? Could there be any possible reason? Because then it justifies whether it's a true, plot hole or if it's just something like an oversight. So this is not an oversight. Like, it's definitely... There's no other reason that they wouldn't burn. I can't think of anything. Could you?
No, it makes no sense. I mean, if you're doing what you're doing, the first thing on your mind is to get rid of the evidence. And if you have it right in front of you, why wouldn't you use it? I don't know. I think my biggest issue with this film, obviously the witch changes from film to film. Not a problem with that. I mean, the aesthetic, the look of the witch and stuff. It's kind of cool. It is what it is. They're going to do what they're going to put their own spin on it and stuff.
It's so long from now too that she honestly, to me, she looks better than Pumpkinhead 2 Witch.
Yeah, well, anything's better than Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, I think so too, actually. But my main issue with this movie is the fact that these were made for sci-fi film or sci-fi television. So they were obviously...
effects are pretty good besides the Pumpkinhead.
They were obviously low budget films.
So these were made, I don't know if they were filmed back to back, but they were released 1 year apart. But
these movies were obviously filmed together, and this is what I'm getting at. My biggest problem with these films is that they were filmed in Romania, and I generally wouldn't have a problem with that, but they're supposed to be set in an American setting, and it doesn't feel like that at all. Because if you look at the architecture, the buildings, and everything around, that does not scream America at all. That's old, that's European shit right there. Like, if you're familiar with that type of stuff.
More so in this one than...
Big time. Like, everything about it. Like, the houses, like, the buildings, everything.
Like, even the crematorium and everything.
That's old, rundown Romania. Like, they picked a cool location. It just doesn't work for the story because it's supposed to be in small town America. That doesn't... Like
Virginia or something.
Yeah, it doesn't really... And it's noticeable. Like, right away when you're watching, you're like, man, that's not America right there. And then, so I looked it up, and it was like Romania. I'm like, I was right again. It's like I knew that wasn't. But, so that's kind of my main problem with the film. But.
So I think that the one of the biggest problems with Pumpkinhead 3 is they do use a lot of heavy CG in this one. They actually don't that much in Pumpkinhead 4, surprisingly. But they do a lot. They do a lot more. They do a lot more suits in Pumpkinhead 4. But like in this one, when they break into like the church or the crematorium or whatever, and he comes through the window, it is god awful CG.
When he's climbing up to get
the worst part. The worst fucking part is when Pumpkinhead jumps from the building down. Oh my god! It looks like it looks like 90s CG.
Yeah, it looks like Cube 2 level.
Oh, that you were talking, but oh man, I agree, man. I agree, but it's funny because
close-ups are good.
There is quite a bit of
there's
practical
definitely suit work in this. He looks smaller in this one.
But his face is
most of the movie.
His face is quite different too. There's something
going on
there.
And he has pointed shoulders. Like, they were always pointed, but these ones are like straight points instead of like curved points. Which I noticed, but he still looks kind of good, they white out his eyes, and I think this one and actually part 2, I think, but I think that looks pretty cool. I looked at the cover and I was like, this is gonna be awful when I pop this one in, you know what I mean? Like, because the cover looks pretty shitty. But yeah, I was actually surprised they do a lot of practicals. Like, they do practicals on the witch. It's clearly like a woman in old age makeup, which by this point she would be 20 years older than she was, almost in the original Pumpkinhead, which I think she definitely had to be around when Ed Harley was a kid. So she's got to be super old now.
Yeah. Pretty cool shout out in this film, though. There's a scene, I think, in the crematorium. Is it in the crematorium? I think.
Don't you think the film feels like it should end after the church, but they're like, oh, we only have 45 minutes?
I feel like this one is definitely like too long.
It's like, oh, we have 45 minutes and it's like a happy ending in the church. Pumpkinhead's dead, but they're like, oh shit, we still have like an hour left. What should we do?
That's classic TV format though, where they take commercial breaks and stuff. I was wondering, is this? They definitely probably have had. They definitely probably shot more gore than they put in the TV. I would think.
I was thinking the same thing actually, because it was
pretty
a lot
bloody.
more. Yeah, it was definitely a lot more gorier than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Well, you want to read some trivia?
There's one piece, I think, right?
There's one cool thing, man. There's a nice little shout out to fucking the Hellraiser franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was going to read.
Oh, really? Yeah, I actually noticed that in the film. So
around the 50-minute mark in the film, a whole stack of puzzle boxes from the Hellraiser series could be seen in the background on a table in the office of the Doctor, played by Doug Bradley.
Yeah, in the office. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that actually.
Yeah.
Which I would have. So this one is weird. Like, I feel like the mythology kind of this one is like better for like an actual Pumpkinhead story. Like the revenge is pretty simple and stuff. Like it's very similar to the original. Vengeance.
It's pretty much the exact same actually.
Yeah, kill everybody who was involved with wronging the town or whatever.
Yeah.
And Bunt is like I think it's so cool that they actually show flashbacks of the original.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just felt like they wouldn't have had the rights to do that, but apparently they did. But yeah, it shows Bunt when he's a kid. It would have been cool if they got the same actor to play him, considering the guy still was acting at the time.
Which probably would have worked too, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I think they make him look a little too, like,
fat.
Gross. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, he's a little chunkier than he was when he was a kid. But I mean, it's 20 years later. Who knows? Anything can happen. I gained a lot of weight after high school.
So what do you think? Ratings, I guess?
Sure.
Jeremy?
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. And then me, I came in at 1 rating, but I started feeling a little bit different about it today, and as we talked through it. I initially had it at 4.5, but I'm going to go up to a 5.5 actually, so a whole point difference.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this one, man. I think it's pretty decent for what it is. I really respect the fact that they connect this directly to the first film. I mean, that gets big points.
It is so refreshing. You never would have thought they would have put that much care into a fucking made for sci-fi film.
Yeah, exactly. And I get, that's a lot of points right there. Just for doing that little bit of homework and connecting, and mad props, man, mad props. And getting Doug Bradley, Lance Hendrickson back. It's pretty fucking cool, man. Bringing back, it's just cool shit, man. I mean, Hendrickson's not really in the film a whole lot, but
when he is, though, he stills the scenes.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, some of the kills are pretty good. I mean, I think one of the major flaws is the setting that they used, and obviously the shitty ass effects. But I mean, at least there was practical with some pretty decent kills in this and stuff. Atmosphere is pretty good in this. I mean, at least they picked it up. They didn't follow Part 2's lead and not have any atmosphere. Like, this one actually has pretty decent atmosphere, to the film.
Yeah, like they show the pumpkin patch again and stuff, and the woods do look very different, but at the same time, they tried. The set design, they tried to make it look similar.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. I actually like this movie more than I thought I did.
Another odd thing about this movie is that it's like, well, actually I should say the whole franchise. These movies progressively get longer as they go.
The problem with these these 2 later sequels is they do actually feel long, though.
Yeah,
like, this one does feel long.
Yeah, and that was leading into.
If it was like 80 minutes instead of 90, I think it would be.
It's 95.
Yeah. So
yeah, if it was 80 or 2 or something like that, it would. probably feel like perfect.
Yeah, these ones need to definitely be a little bit shorter. The middle in this film drags like a motherfucker. It really does. There's some slow moving ass parts and stuff, but I actually kind of like this movie, man. I don't know what it is. I had a lot of fun watching this again. I was pissing my fucking pants at the CG though. It's just so bad. And I think one of the funniest scenes ever is when the fucking church blows and Doug Bradley's character gets blown across the parking lot. I fucking was dying at that part. It just looks so funny because I wasn't expecting him to blow like 50 yards across the parking lot. Fucking hilarious, man. But I actually kind of really like this one. I'm coming in at a 6 out of 10.
Awesome, dude. I'm happy you liked it because I do too. But I just came in. I was at a 4.5, and then I really thought about it. I'm like, why? I actually like this movie. But all right.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know, man. I think these last. I don't think a lot of people have seen these. You never hear people talk about this. I just appreciate
them. I just appreciate the continuity and like the care that they put into the story, even though they didn't have to. They didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah. Exactly. But they did, which makes it all the better.
Pumpkinhead 4, Blood Feud.
All right, so moving a year later into 2007 with Pumpkinhead 4, also known as Pumpkinhead Blood Feud. All right. Directed by Michael Hirst. Yeah.
Sounds like the guy from Trauma.
A little bit, right?
What's his name?
I know he
You know what does kind of annoy me, bro? That they called it Ashes to Ashes, but not Pumpkinhead 3 Ashes to Ashes, but then they call this one Pumpkinhead 4. And even on the DVD, it's annoying because it's like 1, 2, 4. Ashes to Ashes, 4. You know? It looks so stupid.
Makes no sense. It really doesn't make any sense. All right.
Assholes.
When true love between two young lovers are threatened by their family's violent feud, their only chance at peace leads them to summoning up the monstrous Pumpkinhead, who brings even bigger horrors.
Yes, sir. So this is a Hatfields and McCoy story with
Pumpkinhead.
It's a fucking love story disguised as a horror film.
Yeah,
essentially.
So Hatfields and McCoy's is basic. It's a traditional story. You see it play out in cartoons, and it's been adapted and done so many times. Just two families that hate each other, but they throw some Romeo and Juliet into the mix with this film, with the two lovers from each family. I actually like this one more than
I actually like this one too a lot, man. I think it's it's kind of cool, man. They managed to incorporate Lance Henriksen again in this film. Mm-hmm. Playing the same kind of ghostly angel, I guess you would say. I like that, man. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't. I don't know where you kind of fit this in.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a fan of.
It's like another kind of direct sequel to Part 1, almost. You know what I mean? It's not like I wouldn't say it's a straight sequel to Part 3. But it's not necessarily erasing anything that could have happened in Part 3.
It's like a side story to Part 1. It's like, okay, now this is the next time this happens. It's quite clearly not in the same area. Again, this one was also shot in Romania, so it has the same feel as Part 3. But
except for they do a little bit better job with like the house that they live in and stuff. Like that looks like some almost like Amish type living there. But yeah, you're right. Just the color of the woods just feels like European. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really does.
It's interesting. But so you have there is some spotty acting in this one, like there was in the last one. There was one really bad part. I think it was like right after. Right after,
where'd she go, Paul? Or where'd she go? If you don't tell me, I'm gonna break your chair. It's like Jesus Christ.
Oh, the fucking the Hadfield brothers are the worst in this film. All of them are just terrible. Yeah. I felt like some of the actors might have been Romanian trying to do Southern American accents,
or were dubbed. Like there's these two guys, like right after Pumpkinhead gets unleashed.
That's what I thought too, man.
Oh man, I was like, is this dubbed or is this like you said, like Romanian actors doing Americanized accents?
Yeah. think it might have been that, and they dubbed it over or something. I don't know. Something was going on there though with the audio for sure. But yeah, they really do make this feel like super, super hillbilly. Like the fucking wedding at the beginning of the film. Like, it's just like in this.
They have like fucking candle lights and shit.
It's like
what the fuck is this?
It's like in this barn. I'm like, where the fuck is the hay? Kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's called electricity.
Insane. But it's kind of an interesting. I mean, it's a little bit of an interesting story. I mean, you throw this kind of Romeo and Juliet thing, as you called it, this family feud type thing. I kind of like that idea because it's interesting how it progresses, and the girl Jodie is, this one girl. The heart of this is essentially the whole cause of it. She's not theoretically, responsible for conjuring up the demon, but she is the sole
boyfriend,
cause,
right?
Yeah, but she's the sole cause of it. And I kind of like that. That's kind of interesting.
So the boyfriend wants to kill like all the Hatfields except for Jodie.
Yeah,
because something happened to his sister, right?
Yeah, so
was that his sister?
Yeah.
Yes.
They murdered her sister and then pushed her down a hill, and she killed her.
That's the
hit her head.
That's the interesting thing. They didn't kill her.
Yeah.
Right. She actually did fall and hit her head and died. So of course, we've got the Hatfields and McCoys. They've got this huge family beef. I guess the McCoys are hated by the Hatfields because they came into the town and fucking ruined it.
Something about a car.
Yeah,
there was a car.
They tell the story about how. Well, I think one of the uncles why he was in a wheelchair. He got hit by a car and stuff, and they were.
Yeah, but that's how it all started.
Yeah, they were supposed to give him this car as as a sorry, for breaking your legs and paralyzing you, but they never did. So this is how this whole family started. Now we've got these lovers.
Got mad family members too, man. None of these people know about condoms.
That's what I never understood about these families. How in the fuck is there so many kids? I'm serious. The Hatfields have there must be fucking 20 kids. I'm like, was the parents still having kids?
Yeah,
it's insane to me.
Got like 20 brothers. You know what I mean?
It's fucking insane. But yeah. So, anyways, the boyfriend and girlfriend, they're out in the woods doing their thing, and they've got Ricky's sisters supposedly supposed to be watching out. The boys get whiff that their sister is out there with one of the McCoys, and what happens is she sees them. She starts to fucking run from the brothers, and she trips and falls, hits her head, and of course Ricky freaks the fuck out and assumes that the Hatfields had killed his sister. So
no good damn rotten Hatfields, they're up to no good. They're doing everything wrong.
So he's fucking pissed off as hell, and he basically wants to run off with his girlfriend. And the only way to do it is, to get rid of everybody so they can, live happily ever after. Because he figures that, if they take off, they're never going to be free. They're always going to be hunted down and shit. And his best way now is to solve this thing with his sister. So they conjure up the demon, and all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose.
Yeah, and one thing that they do kind of differently in this one, at first, he's actually enjoying all the vengeances.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I mean, I think that
I think it's because there's so much hatred for that family. It's like self-satisfaction. It's like, it's not even satisfying. It's like for everybody, it's not just about you at that point. Yeah.
And also it's, 4 films in, let's have a different perspective this time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've seen how it normally plays out, but what if somebody is just truly reveling in it? You know what I mean? So that's kind of interesting, a nice little difference on that. Of course you have but Pumpkinhead doesn't kill his girlfriend though, right? He's
no, because when he conjures up the demon, he is basically advised to take all the people that were responsible. I think he literally says, but doesn't that become a little bit problematic because technically they didn't do shit? But does it matter, I guess, right? I don't think it matters, because at that point, if you're going to conjure it up, I mean, there has to be kind of, there has to be something there.
Could you just conjure up Pumpkinhead and be like, I really hate Jerry? Could Jeremy just go and be like, I really dislike Jerry Haggis. He didn't mention us when he was dropping off. podcast.
So does he murder all of Jerry's family?
Like,
he's
even
delegated
Jerry,
he's delegated.
Could he?
Yeah.
Like, Jeremy's not getting revenge. Could you just conjure up Pumpkinhead just to take out someone you don't like?
I think that's the way it works, though. I mean,
I think so too.
They don't actually show it so much, but you get the idea that, you're delegating the demon to do the people. Yeah, you're bidding for the people that you're delegating to go kill. And he obviously states, you got to leave her out of this, but everybody else in the family
what state is Haggis in again?
Unless, but they do specify in the film, if she was to get in between and try and stop, Pumpkinhead would kill her.
Yeah, because Pumpkinhead don't play that shit.
Yeah, if anybody tries.
He does it, If somebody tries to get up in Pumpkinhead's face, he fucks them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty decent kills in this one, actually.
This one doesn't have, any CGI, really. You know what I mean? Compared to the third one.
No, Pumpkinhead looks good, man. The witch kind of looks like Marilyn Manson at times.
Is it the same lady?
I don't know.
Maybe it's Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same exact witch from the previous film.
You know what? I never even looked.
I'm looking right. Yeah, it is. So she plays the same lady. At least I got the same lady. That's kind of cool, right?
Oh, she looks completely different, though. Definitely looks different.
Yeah, she does
different makeup for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I dig this one, man. I think that it's an interesting little twist to have the family battling each other while Pumpkinhead's and then they come together because the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. You know what I mean? Because they're both dealing with Pumpkinhead at that point.
Yeah, I mean, again, with these type of movies, they always have to throw these subplots in, with, I guess it's in the prologue in the beginning of the film with the sheriff, right? Where the guy becomes a sheriff and stuff.
Yeah.
Sheriff Dallas.
Because I don't think it's the Hatfields. I think it's Pumpkinhead.
Well, he figures out how to kill. Because remember, he had that run-in with Pumpkinhead, right, when he was younger. Mm-hmm. And he ends up shooting the guy that, he's like, well, if I'm going to fucking die, he's going to die too, kind of thing. I like that, how they actually threw that in there. And then he realized, but it's so fucking stupid because there becomes a part, later on in the film, he actually shoots Pumpkinhead in the head, or he tries to shoot Pumpkinhead. I'm like, dude, you know that you can't fucking kill him like that. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I like it I actually like how this one it ends on a downer note too, kind of, right? She essentially realizes that she got to kill her boyfriend.
Yeah,
to save her sister. And
that's kind of what I was leading at.
I guess the rest of her family. I think pretty much everybody's dead by then. So just her sister.
Yeah, there was. I think there was a couple of people left, but yeah, she had to make the hard decision of, taking out the one that she loves.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. I mean, I like this one.
Yeah, it's actually pretty entertaining. Again, a little bit too long. I can't fucking believe this movie's got longer as they went along.
Well, no, it's the same running time, 95 minutes.
Is it 95? I thought the last one was only
95, and the other one was 95.
Still 95 minutes for.
So 2 hours, but 2 hours with commercials.
But yeah, I think this one overall is a little bit better than part 3. At least they
less CG, more of a interesting narrative with more subplots. The only problem I think with both of these two films is the amount of characters. There's so many. You can't tell anybody apart. Everybody seems the same to you. Besides the main one, obviously Lance Henriksen, Bunt and stuff. But yeah, I guess it's back to
maybe it's kind of realistic though, because these families do have 30 fucking kids.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. So no trivia on this one, right, Jeremy?
Nope.
No, all right, one thing. Crazy.
I guess I will rate this one first, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that I like this one a little bit more. So I'm coming in at 6.5 out of 10.
You're up, Moods.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we went in a different order this time, I noticed.
Yeah, I surprisingly really enjoyed this one after you sent me a link, because I didn't tell the story, but I went to go fucking watch this movie, and my fucking DVD, the top is peeled. So it wouldn't fucking play. I don't know what happened to it.
Did you ever watch it?
Yes.
Or did you just buy it and shelf it?
No, I've had this movie for a long time. I've watched it before. And it played fine, so I don't know if it got like shelf rot or something. You get the odd disc like that. I don't know. But I was like, fucking what the hell? And I couldn't find a link anywhere, and we were like supposed to record. Like, this is insane.
That day too. So, and I was at work, so I couldn't get you. Like, we tried to find a link online, but for whatever reason, this movie's hard to find online.
We did find a link, but it was in like Spanish or something like that. So
yeah,
of course. But
I have the
Spanish.
I have the DVD, so I just ripped it and sent it his way. But I was like, why the hell is Jeremy not ripping it? And you dumbass, you got a computer, a really expensive computer without a DVD drive for some reason.
The way they come these days, bro.
Yeah,
that's dumb, man. Yeah. You should at least buy a drive.
Okay.
You don't think?
For emergencies like this.
Yeah, you used to always rip stuff when we couldn't.
Still got my laptop.
Okay, so you should have did it on there then.
I didn't want to.
Oh. Yeah, lazy,
being honest.
Sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm pulling my meat, fingering my fadge and doing nothing.
Fingering your vag?
My fadge.
Is that hard to do through those pull-ups?
Yeah, especially since they're full of shit and piss.
Oh, nice.
So what do you got on this one then?
Man, I actually really enjoy this film. I mean, the acting might even be worse in part 3 in this film. I don't know. Sometimes
some spots.
It is, man. Some parts are just atrocious. But I don't know, man. I found this film to be actually quite entertaining. Considering I'm not a big fan of like love stories. I really don't like love much. I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan of it. And
I used to hate it. But I've come around on. Like,
why don't you like it?
It's just overrated. Love is overrated.
Cheesy.
It's cheesy.
Usually.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, romantic... I can't watch that shit, man.
It's
but
like
it's not very often you see a horror film that actually has, like, a big relationship. Like, it's the big focal point of a film. Pretty interesting.
That's the one I always think of, Spring.
Yeah, and I'll give them props for actually making it work. Like, you take this whole family feud thing. It's fucking cool with a revenge demon. Not bad. I'm also at a 6.5 out of 10 on this one.
Oh.
It's a little bit better than part 3, but, you know, it falls. It's a little bit too long.
5 out of 10 for me.
5 out of 10. Nice.
You know what? Was that real?
Oh, man, that's a little bit dingy.
Jeremy came into the show thinking that I was the only one that was going to like the last two Pumpkinhead movies. And he was
I don't like any of the Pumpkinhead
JP, why do you like this? And then Moods was like, actually, I like this too. And then just quiet.
What do you want me to say?
I just was like, oh, damn.
I just don't care for the Pumpkinhead.
Beat me up.
I just don't care for the Pumpkinhead franchise.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that you thought you and Moods were gonna tag team me, and it didn't happen.
Because I like Moods.
What?
Dick.
No, I'm saying that like. Normally it sucks to be the guy that's the odd man out.
Because Moods always fucking sells me out every time he says he likes something and then he doesn't.
Never sold you out.
You did. You totally sold me out that one time.
Dude, I literally love that narrative because
total bullshit.
Dude,
like, oh yeah, I hate that movie too. I can't wait to talk shit about it. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I like this movie.
That's not the way that went at all.
Yes, it is.
Dude, I tore that movie a fucking asshole.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Dude.
You threw me under the bus.
What did I give it, a 5 out of 10?
I forgot what movie it was.
Oh, yeah, I fucking love that movie. I love that movie.
What movie was it?
The Curve. It was The Curve.
Oh, yeah, it's The Curve. You're like, oh, yeah, that movie was so shit.
It was shitty.
Sold me out.
It was fucking shitty.
That's the best episode ever.
And no, that episode
133.
That is one of our good episodes. Moods didn't think
because fucking Andrew was on there and he's just like
not talking because his mic's being
blowing fucking. He was blowing floating heads all show and other.
Yeah, but it was a really funny episode.
Yeah, because Mood sold me out.
It's so funny that you think
It's
that.
funny because it doesn't make sense, which is why it's so funny to me.
Dude, I think giving a 5 out of 10 on something isn't exactly loving the shit out of something.
Did you give a 5? No, you didn't. Did you?
I think so.
Are you looking?
Something like that. It was like 5.
No. I thought you gave it like 6 or something. 6.5?
Maybe
I'm
5.5.
I'm looking.
Either way, he sold me out. So.
Oh, God.
So, did you think he was going to sell you out on Pumpkinhead?
No, because we didn't really talk about part 3 and 4. It was only part 2. So if he came in and he's like, yeah, I really like part 2, I would have been really pissed off.
Would you have been like, you motherfucker, you sold me out.
Yeah, because all he does is talk shit about Pumpkinhead 2. I was going to be fucking mad.
Dude, that's great. You gave it a 6.5. I was right.
Oh, okay. Something like
Liar, bitch.
So you did sell him out down the river.
Didn't sell him out. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, didn't you know it? All right, let's get out of this bitch before my depends get more wet.
All right.
Alrighty, well, that was episode 141. Thank you, Derek, for picking the Pumpkinhead franchise. It was actually kind of fun to revisit them, except for part 2. Fuck
Eric
Blood
didn't
Wings.
pick.
Yeah,
Derek's next week.
No, this was Derek.
No, this was Derek's pick.
Oh.
I'm pretty fucking.
Sam's is next week.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sam's. Is
Yeah, this
next week.
was no. I like all 4 of them. I understand why you don't like the part 2, and I honestly understand why Jeremy doesn't like.
So
the
you
other
said you're
3.
not a fan. Like, you say you're not a fan of the franchise, but you do like the first one.
Yeah, I just don't care for the Pumpkinhead movies. I don't know. They all feel the same to me in some way or another.
Well, they kind of are.
Yeah, and then when they're not, people bitch because part 2.
Well, part 2 sucks.
I think you're just not a sequel guy. I honestly think that you don't like sequels.
The Child Play sequels are okay.
Well,
Saw,
but that's your favorite thing.
Saw 3 is good. Saw 3 is really good.
I mean, normally, I'm just saying, like, if you take all the sequels, I feel like you're always down if a movie is similar to the previous one.
Don't you
'Cause
like
you say that a
Children
lot.
of the
You're
Corn
like,
part 2?
No, I do.
No.
Oh, you don't like? Okay.
I like part 4.
Yeah, see, I'm not a big fan
Yeah,
of part
because
2
it's
either.
different. Part 2 is like Pumpkinhead 2.
My favorite thing about part 3 is the awesome Chicago setting.
Yeah, even though it's LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. Let's get the fuck out of here. Next week, we are going to be doing
Takashi Miike.
Takashi Miike, courtesy of Sam, another Patreon, and the films are going to be Ichi the Killer, Gozu, and Audition. Yeah.
I also have another review of another Asian film as a featured review, which is another pick.
And we came to the conclusion it's like doing an entire franchise. All these movies are over
we're
2
doing
hours.
Asian themed.
It's like fucking 9 hours of movies for 4 movies. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
I need to get prepping.
I'm halfway done.
Haven't even fucking started, man.
And we got a short week this week. It's like we're this is our
5
Thursday. Like,
days.
this is like a short NFL week, you know. Play a Thursday and then again on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I gotta do my picks for that shit.
Or Monday rather. But yeah. So
Jeremy,
Right.
take us out of here.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to talk really slow this time so I don't sound like I'm selling stuff on eBay. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 141 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horde podcast. If you want to tell Moods, fuck you for throwing me under the bus, you could do so at youtube.com/moods616. If you want to follow JP over on his channel, please do so at youtube.com/doubleshotj. And please, please, please come over to my channel and send me some new pull-ups because I only have 2 left in that box, and this room is going to smell really bad at youtube.com/NESRule22. And as always, please follow us on the Facebook page, facebook.com search bar 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Podcast. Please leave us any voicemail you have at 724-426-6665. And of course, we will not answer. Please send us any questions at the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror at gmail.com. This is 22 Shots of Moods and Horror at gmail.com. Please follow us on Twitter if you'd like to see JP fight with people from Bloody Disgustings, twitter.com patreon.com/22 shots podcast. And as always, please support the Patreon to get the sand sucked out of my vagina. Patreon.com/22 shots podcast. That should do it, everybody, for episode 141 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. We'll be back next week with, of course, like we just mentioned, the Tashke Mike retrospective, which will include a lot of mispronounced names.
That was good.
This is what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Mickey!
Tashi Mika.